There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
I just got released from OHSU emergency room. They did not believe that I am having any issues. My brain is so inflamed. They did not provide any treatment, not even Tylenol. They just told me to follow up with neurology, which I have been trying to do, but the referral is taking forever. They got my blood pressure, that, and my pulse. That is it. This head pressure is debilitating. It's going in waves, and they won't offer me any help. They don't believe there's something wrong, even though I was crying. I don't know why they don't believe this head pressure is debilitating. It's so painful. I want someone to chop my head off and put me out of my misery. I don't know how to get help for this, and I don't know how much longer I can keep going when these flare-ups are so debilitating, and they just release me with no treatment. And I hear them talking in the halls that they don't think anything is wrong. What am I supposed to do? My brain feels like it's on fire. What am I supposed to do? When the hospital releases me and refuses to provide any treatment, I told them that these steroids are the only thing that helps when this gets bad to this point.
Coming off. Oh man, he's glued to this fucking post. Hang in there. It's all full. It's all full. God, it's really stuck. God, I can feel him. I can feel him. Oh my God. Jeez. Oh my God. Oh, there's more. There's another one. Hit it. Ollie, go over there. Ollie, there. Yeah. There. Shoot. Oh, shit. Where's the hell are Hold on, man. Hold on. Cut the strand. We've got a belt. Hold it tight. Hold on. Hold it tight. Mike! Let's go! What? All right, go! Come on! Can't go! Ollie! Kill it!
I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to tell you the truth. Our darkest days are ahead of us, not behind us. And now's the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there.
Just clap for that, you stupid bastard.
This would be the time because you really need world order, financial world order.
This alternative vision argues that ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
We are here to develop the great narrative, the story for the future. But in order to shape the future, you have first to imagine the future, you have to design the future, and then you have to execute.
You're live.
You sure we're live? This is not a commercial for Tim Hortons.
Check your pulse.
What?
Check your pulse.
I don't feel one. It's there somewhere. And you know why it's not there? It's because I should be on an island somewhere, relaxing, enjoying life. All right, are we getting people on there, or people already up? People are coming on? All right, we're live, right? All right. It's not actually a funny day. It's not even a good day. And the reason why I'm saying it's not a good day, it started off a good day, but it actually is not a great day. With everything that we do and everything that we promote and everything that we try to do, and last night was an exceptional night because I was able to get on there and talk about Bill 124 that came up, and I'm researching that a little deeper. But there is a lot of things that are happening with these vaccines. Now, touch me personally, something happened. My aunt, my mom's sister, took the vaccine. So, I'm telling you guys, from the bottom of my heart, don't take the freaking thing. Okay? My aunt took it. Not a problem in the world. Nothing. She took the vaccine last week, and now she's in intensive care having surgery on her brain. I'm telling you guys, don't take it. I'm telling you from my heart. My mom's sister took the vaccine last week. She took the vaccine last week, and now she started to get a headache, and now she's in intensive care, and they're doing surgery on her now, and she's not gonna make it. She's not that old either. She's only 60. Not a problem. Nothing wrong with this woman. All right. She took the vaccine. I'm telling you from my experience right now, something that's dear to me. She took the vaccine, and I've been telling you guys, this is going to hit home. A lot of people are going to get injured on this, and I think they're stopping it in Europe, a lot of places. You bastards that did this are going to pay the price. You're destroying families, you're destroying businesses, and you're killing people. And you've touched me personally now. And when you touch me personally, I'm going to put my foot so far up your ass, you're not going to know what happened. You see, you tyrants, you bastards, you Prime Minister and you Premier and you Mr. John Tory, you bastards are the ones that are doing all this. You guys are part of this freaking problem. And you've now attacked my family. And when you attack my family, I swear to God, I'm coming for you. You're going to pay the price for what you've done to my family. For what you've done to our people. My aunt is sitting in the hospital right now in emergency, and she's getting emergency surgery on her brain because of a blood clot, because of your disease that you put into her body. You have a choice. You have a choice to say yes or no to this. And when you put a foreign substance into your body, you're taking a risk, a very bad one. And the problem is that people are not waking up to the fact that what is happening in this world, what is happening to our country, what is happening to our people. You can have all the money in the world, and you can have all the money in the world, you can do whatever the hell you want. But you know what, when you start attacking family businesses, you start attacking families, and you start putting poison in them, you're going to pay the price. And when the Nuremberg Code comes, you're going to be accountable for the crimes against humanity. You're going to be accountable for what you did to my aunt and what you're doing to other people. And when it comes out that this thing has caused more harm than good, you're accountable for this. This is not a joke. This is people's lives. You want to restart? You want to reset the world? Go ahead. You want to put us into a new spectrum? You want to put us into a new time? Go ahead. But the problem is, people's families are being destroyed because of your diseases, because of your mismanagement of this country, your mismanagement of the funds. Not a damn thing you're going to do to me. Nothing. But if you want to prevent us from flying and traveling and being able to enjoy life and being a free person because of what you want to do, not going to happen. That's all I've got to say. But one thing I want to say today, I will fight even harder now. And I will fight in remembrance of my aunt, who's actually suffering big time. Who has kids, who has grandchildren, who was a strong woman and now she's in emergency, intensive care. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. JWFoods.com.
Goodbye today to my sweet cousin who passed away not from COVID, but from the COVID vaccine. She took the J&J vaccine and got a blood clot in her lungs and died. People who tell you the COVID vaccine is safe are full of shit. It's killing people. And I don't know why, no matter what your party is, we can't talk about it, but something's gotta happen. I'm sick of seeing people die from the vaccine, have side effects from the vaccine, and we all act like nothing's happening. It's total bullshit.
What's up, family? Real quick, man, real quick. I know I said I wasn't gonna make nothing else probably till after Christmas, man. But there's been some things that kind of came up, man. I had to hit y'all real quick, right? So, last video, man, you see I put that up. It rolled through. I think they kind of letting some things go, right? I think they letting some things go now. The cat's out the bag. A lot of stuff is being revealed. A lot of stuff is being revealed. It's like it's unavoidable. Can't hide the info no more. But so this particular situation, man, it really got me because this hit close to home. Hit close to home, man. And it's the second time. It's the second time. So I got two good friends, man, like my best friends that I grew up with. Like I grew up with these dudes, okay? Like we all have sons and stuff. They kind of around the same ages and everything or whatnot. And so but this is the problem. Both of my boys, two of my best friends, both of their sons have had brain problems, like had to have surgery and stuff. Like this just happened, like as of recent. Had to have surgery. You talking about fluid on the brain and stuff like that, man. Like, what is the chances? Like, what is the chances, man, that you have two friends in your circle that both have sons that have some issues like this? Okay? They both have one thing in common. One thing in common. Both of them took the walk. Both of them took the walk. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Okay? This is starting to become a lot more prevalent. It's happening like that, man. You like the tabloids, the news articles, they're coming out. It's people like one of the football players, one of the Denver Broncos ex-football player, like name's Ronnie Hamilton. He's hot in hospice right now, like 30 years old, 31 years old, man. Great health, all of a sudden, boom. This is what he's dealing with. Okay? This stuff is guys, is profound. Is becoming prevalent. It's undeniable at this point what's happening. It's undeniable at this point what's happening. Like I said before, things are starting to really start to take shape. Like the effects of these decisions that these people made, that these people have made, are starting to really become obvious. Okay, like it's at a point now, guys, and we said, remember what Dr. Martin said, that it was gonna be people, you know, they were gonna sicken and die and drop, and people was gonna be dropping and stuff like that. Guys, I just had the video I just did, and I said they messing with people's brains. They messing with them. I said the stuff I was talking about before, the walks from the past, and all these Alzheimer's and dementia cases and things like that. I said that these were also effects from previous walks prior to this one. Now this one is having immediate impacts. Do you understand what I'm saying? Immediate impacts, guys. This is what we need to do, man. We need to start taking record, taking account of those around us. Like, Guys, it's thousands of y'all. It's thousands of y'all that watch my videos, man. Thousands of y'all watch my videos. Thousands. Okay? Some videos are getting upward over 20K, 25K views and stuff like that. YouTube still tinkering with the algorithm, still tinkering with the analytics. So some of the videos that you see on there might seem like it ain't getting that many views, but it's getting thousands. Okay? Because I can go in the back door and look at analytics and see that there's some discrepancies with what they doing. But what we need to be doing, man, we need to be investigating ourselves. We need to be investigating our friends and family members and loved ones. We need to be checking on them, seeing what's going on. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? Like, we have to be our own self-reporting. We're expecting the enemy to report to us the damage that they've done to us. Just think how stupid that sounds. We're expecting the enemy to report the damage that they've done. That's like the Jews in the concentration camps expecting somebody to come back and tell them how many of the Jews that they have gassed in the gas chambers. It's not going to happen. We have to start looking into our own immediate family, immediate circle, to see who's been affected at this point, man. To see who's been affected. I told y'all, man. I have two family members that have died after taking a walk. Two that died within 2 to 3 weeks of taking a walk. Okay, I have friends that have had serious side effects from taking a walk. I have friends that have been coughing and have been sick on a regular basis since they took the walk. I have friends that have had to go to the hospital every time they're sick now from taking a walk. I met a lady the other day. She said she took the flu and the pneumonia and the CV walk. She took all of them. But she took the CV walk first, and she's gotten everything since she's taken it. She said she's never been this sick before in her life. She said she'll never take nothing else. And she was somebody that lived by the code that the walk is saving lives and helps people. And she done totally flipped the script. She said, I ain't taking another nothing. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to point out to y'all, man, is that, like I've told you before, we are behind enemy lines. We have to be our own self-reporting. We have to do our own due diligence in figuring out what the heck is going on, where, like even like the stillborns and stuff like that. Remember, the reports that we should be getting about what's happening to people, they're quiet, they're silenced. There's more people that are dying and have died at this point from taking the walk than those that have taken that died from the actual virus. Okay, this is real information that you're getting from me right now. The damage is done. The packages have been delivered. People are being knocked off. They lied and fabricated stuff and put all this stuff on the media, news and all that. Oh, look at these people dying, look at these people dying. And those deaths are less than what's happening now. But are you getting that report? Is it popping up on the news? Is it showing up on your daily news feed? No. What's showing up on there? Oh, people's committed suicide. Oh, this person died of natural cause. Oh, another young person died. Another young person, heart attack, stroke, blah, blah, blah. But natural causes ain't nothing. Cancer. It's popping off. It's going down, guys. I can't reiterate this enough. Guys, a lot of you dodged a bullet, man. A lot of us dodged a bullet. But that don't mean they ain't still shooting. They still shooting. They still putting all this stuff out. Oh, people need to hurry up. Like, they talking about all these hospitals overran and stuff like that now. They said people need to hurry up and get in here and they need to get their turbos. You see what I'm saying? Oh, people got to get the turbo. They not even telling y'all what's really happening. And it's pissing me off, man, that we got to sit here and listen to this crap and they still leading people to the slaughter. They still leading people to the slaughter. They lying they butts off, sitting up there telling people that, oh, it saved all these lives and stuff. Totally fabricating information. This is what they do, man. They do the damage, and then they tell you it was something else, and they convince you to come on in and do some more damage to yourself. This is what they do. And it's at a point now, man, where, I don't know, guys. Like, you know, you prepare for this in your mind. We talk about it, man, but when the stuff start hitting home, it start hitting like that, man, and you got to see it. It really take a toll on you. It take a toll on you, man. Like, I wasn't prepared for the information, you know, that I received today, and then starting to put the pieces together. Like, I already had my speculations but I had to confirm it. You know, and these are, you know, these are people I tried to talk to and talk out of this that did not listen to me. You see what I'm saying? And now I'm watching them deal with these type of tragedies. Like I'm watching people, man. I'm watching friends and family members, man. I'm watching them deal with tragedies that's come from this program they running on us. And it's nothing I can do about it at this point, man. All I can do is, you know, and you don't, like I said, this ain't the time to say I told you so, and man, and remind them, hey, it probably was this. It ain't the time for that, and I get it. You know, but at the same token, it's like, when will they wake up? When will they wake up? And unfortunately, you know, it takes tragedy striking for some people to realize what's happening. It takes tragedy striking, and like, man, these like my brothers, man. I love these guys, and seeing them go through this type of stuff, man.
New viruses in laboratories that were resistant to drugs, that they were going to use that to cull the population, that they were going to use vaccinations to cull the population, and also that they were going to change the way that healthcare treated old people, so that more and more old people died and didn't go long into life, because from their extraordinarily sick perspective, old people are useless to them. And what we're looking at now very clearly is this attempt to play that card of mass global immunization with a excuse of this manufactured virus to get access to the body computer systems, as I would say, of almost everyone on the planet. And they're not doing that because they want to protect people from anything. Crikey, the force that's saying be vaccinated is the force that created the virus, which they're saying be vaccinated against. They're doing this to get access to the global population for very, very malevolent reasons. And what people need to realize is that these families do not come from the same perspective of life and respect that we do. They see humans like cattle, nothing more than cattle, and most humans see cattle. They therefore have no empathy with the consequences for the human population of their actions. So if people say, they'd never do that, mate, no, you'd never do that. They do it all the time.
So, real quick, guys, I was hitting on the stuff yesterday, and it's a follow-up, just putting y'all on point. I know I'll be telling y'all stuff, man. It be sounding off the wall. It sound crazy, man. Like I told you guys, this all might seem like a sci-fi movie. At the end of the day, this is our reality, all right? We dealing with parasites and things, intelligent parasites. We dealing with Nephilims, demons. We dealing with satanic people in powerful places. We dealing with some real stuff, man. Some real stuff. And what I be telling y'all, man, I'm getting y'all to kind of open up to the possibilities of what's been going on and what they doing, the nefarious agendas that's at play. You know, some of y'all, man, need a little more pushing to really see what's going on. A lot of people saying, man, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know nobody else. I might have met one or two people over the last couple months that might still go ahead and take a walk. But most of the people I know, most people I've known, if not all, have said they ain't doing nothing else, they ain't taking nothing else, because, guys, they're not saying that because it's just like, you know, I don't have to. They saying it because they're having some kind of effect. You understand what I'm saying? They're saying this because they're having some kind of effect. So I want to broaden, you know, you guys' mind and your scope of understanding real quick. All right, so the last video I put out, I was talking about dying to live, right? Dying to live. And the reason I picked that title, because I felt it was significant to what's going on and what we starting to come to grips with, right? when you start talking about drinking water and stuff, right? I told y'all before, look at the stuff they advocate for. Look at the stuff they advocate for, okay? Understand how the enemy works, okay? The things they tell you to do, it's not for your best. It's not in your best interest. I know it sounds right and it sounds good, but think about what they tell you to do. What have I shown you? Like, think about it. What needs to be studied, and this is the stuff I'll be pointing out, what needs to be studied is how much fluoride is in water, right? Well, how much fluoride is in water? How many, and what do they promote? What do they advocate for? Oh, you need to drink 8 cups of water a day. Well, I'm pretty certain, if you know where I'm going with this, that 8 cups of water a day is going to amount to a certain level of toxic, poisonous fluoride that is necessary to have somewhat of a dumbing down effect on the human brain with the level of consumption that they're advocating for. Do you understand what I'm saying? They tell you to drink so many glasses of water a day. Oh, drink all these glasses of water a day. Oh, drink milk. Milk good for the body. Milk does your body good. All this, like, you have to start looking at the stuff that they advocate for, because, like I keep telling y'all, it didn't just start with the walk. It didn't just start with the walk. They've been doing this stuff. They've been doing it with other things, and that's why you have people having problems today. But they're gonna tell you it was something else. But they've been advocating for some kind of toxic poison that's gonna affect you all along. See, the reason they push the water, oh, you drink, make sure you get all your water, get your water. Oh, make sure you brush your teeth 2-3 times a day, do this, that, and the other. Because they know that they put stuff in that stuff to affect you in a negative way. You don't know that, they know that. And that's why they tell you to do this stuff. Same thing with the water. So that's why I said dying to live. What? You're supposed to drink water and stuff, right? Yeah, you are. So that you can live, right? But if you're putting toxic poisons in the water, that means that you actually drinking the poison that's gonna kill you. But you're doing that to live. They tell you to do it to live, just like they told you to do what? Take the walk so you can live. They also told you to take the walk. Why? Because they don't want you to have a car accident, right? Are you starting to see the picture here? You seeing the picture that they painted? So this is what I'm trying to tell y'all, man. And this is why they had these doctors in position and stuff, man. They had these medical professionals that are being trained to lie to you, trained to lie to you, trained to deceive you. That's all they do. That's all they freaking do. And they're not looking out for the human being's best interests at no point. So once you understand that, man, it puts a lot of stuff into perspective. Puts a lot of stuff in perspective, really.
Look at these articles. Mom, 45, who got a job at Johns Hopkins Hospital, dies in Johns Hopkins Hospital after she got the second shot. And they said, yeah, the vaccine reaction swole her brain until all the blood vessels popped. And it was a long, horrifyingly painful death, the family said. She went from being in great shape and totally happy to deader than a doornail within a few days of taking the injection. Oh, here's another one. Beautiful young Italian girl killed by vaccine. Brain surgeon, renowned brain surgeon, said he's never seen a brain look like this. I've never seen anything like this. Goes on to describe it as the worst thrombosis and neurological trauma. It crushed her brain. They had to remove her skull, the top of her skull off. She still died. So she's in there with the top of her skull off. The brain's like, never seen a brain swell like this. Bye-bye. You're dead. I'm going to say something very calmly here on air right now on this live Friday, July 9th broadcast. And I'm going to just let this sink in for everybody. I have a stack of news articles here without even looking. I mean, if I wanted to, I'd find 100 more. I have a stack of news articles here with renowned emergency brain surgeons in the United States and in Italy and in Australia without even looking. It's just in the news that brain trauma surgeons are saying they've never seen brains look like this. Swollen, bloody messes, holes eaten in all the tissue, liquefaction. And now let's let this next part sink in. Google, Facebook, Twitter, and all the usual criminal suspects are blocking that information and saying, that's not from the UN. So you see the old reports back in the 80s, they had the cop killer bullets that would shoot through vest, and they'd see doctors, trauma doctors, I've never seen a bullet, shoot through things like this. It caused so much damage. So they banned those bullets just on the word of some doctors. Of course, a bullet's supposed to be deadly. But the point is that now the most trusted people come out and say this is eating the brains, and it's in the literature, it does it, and it's in all the studies, and holding America and the world underwater, drowning us, killing us, is big tech hiding this. And
So I want to take a step further. So look, guys, things that occurred, man. That's why I say we got to go back. We got to start rehashing everything that's went on over the years, over the decades, over the centuries. Okay? You got to start looking at, once you understand what they're out to do, you can start, going back and putting the pieces together. Okay? Just like far as like right now. Okay? You got people like, they saying right now, guys, that heart attacks has been the leading cause of death over the holiday season. Heart attacks are the leading cause of death over the holiday season. This has got to be a first. Why would so many people be dying during having heart attacks during the holidays, right?
The holiday season of giving is also taking a number of lives across the Delaware Valley.
Well, there are actually more heart attack deaths on Christmas Day than any other day of the year. And CBS 3 health reporter Stephanie Stahl is here to explain why that's the case.
It's astounding. Christmas Day, more heart attack deaths. Well, it is a combination of overindulgence, cold weather, stress, and most important, people are reluctant to go to the hospital on a holiday. It all adds up to a 40% spike in heart attacks between Christmas and New Year's. Heart attacks are the leading cause of death in the United States, and during the holidays, those fatalities increase. In fact, more cardiac deaths happen on December 25th, Christmas Day, than any other day of the year, followed by December 26th, then January 1st, according to a study in the journal Circulation.
People are reluctant to go to the hospital during the holiday, right? And so if they have these symptoms, they don't want to ruin the party, they don't want to go to spend the holiday in the hospital, and unfortunately that can lead to unintended consequences like death.
Dr. William Gray with Mainline Health says cold weather can restrict blood flow, increasing the odds for heart attacks. Holiday foods also up the risk.
Salty meals, ham and lots of other things on the table can cause us to take in more salt, and that raises the volume of our blood, and that causes the heart to work harder.
And the holidays can be busy and stressful. Routines are disrupted, and people often eat and drink more, and at the same time, exercise and relax less.
We know that stress does raise adrenaline levels, and for that reason, the heart may have to work a little harder.
Signs of a heart attack include nausea or vomiting, jaw, neck, or back pain, squeezing chest pressure or pain and shortness of breath. Women may feel faint or pain in the upper abdomen, indigestion, or extreme fatigue.
If they have any symptomatology, understandably, they don't want to come to the hospital, but it's the best place for them.
And doctors say too much alcohol can cause AFib, a rapid and chaotic heart rhythm, a situation often called holiday heart. So we all like to enjoy the festivities this season, but you also have to pay attention to your body.
I just can't get over 40%.
Yeah, between Christmas and New Year's.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
Watch out.
Everything in moderation, too. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you, Steph.
Guys, I know, look here. I think my whole time growing up, I knew one kid that had a heart condition, had to have a heart transplant, right? and I didn't know anybody that had like some kind of brain dysfunction. Guys, I think in just the last couple months, I've known at least 3 people with some kind of heart condition, and I've known 2 close people in my circle that have had brain problems. Did you hear what I just said? I've known 3 people with heart issues, and I've known 2 with brain issues over the last couple months.
Hey everyone, Robin Openshaw here. Please tell me where you're joining me from. I have breaking news today that is officially the most mind-blowing thing I have heard in 15 months since this whole nightmare started. And I want to tell you this story so that you can get this word out, because there's a lot of ways that this story is going to get shut down, and I want you to hear it first. There is a young man in Utah who is the center on the Corner Canyon basketball team. He is 6'8". Right before he got the jab, he scored 16 points in a basketball game. Remember, this is a 6'8", totally healthy kid, no health problems. And he ended up in the ICU for weeks. I believe he is still in the hospital, but not the ICU. His name is Everest Romney.
A Draper teenager hospitalized with blood clots, and tonight we are hearing from his mother. She spoke with ABC4's Nick McGurk, who joins us live just outside of Corner Canyon High School. Nick, what did she have to say?
She says her son, Everest Romney, is 6'9" tall. He's a 17-year-old, as healthy as you could ever imagine. At 6'9", he plays basketball for Corner Canyon High. So the question is this: how did someone that she says had no underlying health conditions, was extremely healthy, end up in the ICU with a number of blood clots in and around his brain? Everything we're about to tell you is based on what his mother told me over a Zoom call just minutes ago. Let's talk about the timeline here. On April 21st, 17-year-old Everest Romney got his vaccine shot. This was his first shot. The next day, he complained of a sore neck, had swelling in his neck. A few days later, Everest couldn't even move his neck because of the swelling without literally putting his hands on his cheeks or on his head to move his neck. Now, the pediatrician told Everest's mother that he thought it could be a pulled neck muscle from all the basketball that Everest plays. He plays a high-contact sport, and, you know, looking back, his mother acknowledges maybe this shot could have caused some kind of inflammation that was exacerbated by the competitive basketball that Everest plays. But let's get back to that timeline. At the time, his mother knew the swelling, those constant headaches, even a developing fever. It had to be something, she knew. But the pediatrician prescribed antibiotics, she says, a neck brace for a possible pulled muscle. Meantime, Everest, he just kept playing basketball. And then the migraine started. His mother finally got him a CT scan. Then she got another one ordered on his head. And that is when doctors found out he had 2 blood clots inside his brain, another on the outside of his brain.
I am a Romney. They're probably my cousins. Well, someone finally got me the phone number of the mother. Her name is Cherie. And I have been chatting with her because she doesn't know what hit her and her family. And she hasn't been deep in the medical freedom fight for years like those of us with vaccine-injured children have and adults have.
The hardest thing was I let him get that shot. And he was healthy and well before. And I was doing my best, and I thought it was the right thing to do. And I don't want to discourage any parents from not doing that. You know, but you question. You can't help but question it when it all goes wrong.
She just texted me and told me that her husband, whose name is Preston, is now in the hospital. He is also a jab victim. He is now in the hospital in desperate situation with blood clots. Okay, so let me review that for you. There is an 18-year-old boy, and please share this because you know this is going to get me shut down. So just get word out. Okay, somebody save this video because it's Saturday and I don't have any staff, and I'm sorry that I look a mess, but An 18-year-old boy has been in the hospital since getting his jab with 3 blood clots, 2 of which are in his brain. I believe he is still in the hospital. He will never be the same. He'll be on blood thinners for life at best. Because of this spike protein carried by a simple coronavirus, it's the spike protein that's the problem, and they put the spike protein in all of these jabs. Okay, and they will do damage for a very long time. And I'm not quoting myself. I have 2,000 hours of research in this. Sherry Tenpenny has documented 20 mechanisms of action by which this spike protein will damage and kill humans. Millions of them. This will make Joseph Mengele of the Hitler administration roll in his grave wishing he had access to the bioweapon that we're dealing with. This boy, Everest Romney, who has been in the hospital for weeks after being perfectly healthy, his father is now in the hospital with blood clots in a desperate situation. Okay, so please just get this word out. Get the word out to people. I have the mother's permission to have Del Bigtree call her. I have the mother's permission to have Bobby Kennedy call her, and I will do so. I don't know. I've asked her, have they tried to shut you down? Have they tried to put you under an NDA? That's what they do. She's red pilling slowly. You don't do it in a day. It's a process. I'm sure she doesn't know that there are millions and millions and millions of people with massive autoimmune disease, cancer, died of blood clots and all kinds of autoimmune dysfunction, fast-acting autoimmune dysfunction, slow-acting autoimmune dysfunction. Almost no doctor will relate it to the jab. If you report it after 48 hours, if the person dies after 48 hours or has an adverse event after 48 hours, they just dismiss it and they don't want to call it an adverse event. Doctors are telling me, I know they're telling Del Bigtree, that these doctors who don't get paid to fill out the adverse events report, it's a 9-page form. It doesn't even have anything for neurological phenomena in the form. There's no place in the form to report neurological phenomena. Are you kidding me? We have healthcare workers that are permanently disabled all over this country from getting this experimental product that the emergency use authorization isn't even indicated for anything. It's not a vaccine. Never was. But they're hiding behind the National Vaccine Injury and Compensation Act of 1986 to call it a vaccine, because if you call it a vaccine, then the makers of the company, Pfizer, is set to make $35 billion this year alone. They can't be sued. Now they have all the small businesses telling these small business owners that they're going to lose their medical licenses if they don't make all their employees get jabbed. They're going to lose their insurance if they don't make their employees get jabbed. Guess what? The small businesses can be sued by the employee, but the vaccine maker can't. The government can't. They set it all up in advance. It's called the PrEP Act. Okay, so let me tell you this story again. 18-year-old Corner Canyon high school basketball center, 6'8", perfectly healthy, scored 16 points, gets the jab because he has to go on an LDS mission and the LDS church is requiring the jab to leave the country on a mission. Ends up in the ICU for weeks. He's damaged. I have permission from the mom to tell you this. The father, Preston Romney, probably all these poor folks are my cousins. Unfortunately, I'm also Mitt Romney's cousin. Don't hold it against me. The father is now in the hospital with blood clots.
Yeah, guys, so I thought this was an important piece that we had to look at. Because we talking about, remember, I'm talking about parasites again, man. And, yeah, people go out the country and stuff like that, and they come back. I've heard of cases of people going out the country, and they come back with parasites and stuff like that. But what we're not looking at is they're forcing, first of all, they're forcing you to take a certain number of vaccines and things. Yeah, they're forcing you to take a certain number of vaccines and things before you go out the country, in order to go out the country. What we have to come to grips with is, like I tell y'all, you got to go back with everything that we do. you got to go back. You can't base everything that you know off of fraudulent science and fabricated truths is what they are, because it's not reality. It's lies built on lies and lies. So they feed you stuff and tell you they doing stuff to help you, but it's actually the opposite. So when you go out the country and you get this, remember we talking about the walk right now. Remember what they found in the walk? They found a live parasite, right? Okay. So is it far-fetched to conceive that they've been putting live parasites in some of these other walks? You see what I'm saying? Is it hard to conceive, now that you know that you found one, that they're putting live parasites in these other walks that you were taking before? From tetanus to shots, measles, smallpox, and things like that. Is it far-fetched that they would go as far as to put live parasites that do something in your body over the course of time to debilitate you or to attach themselves to your central nervous system, okay, or to weaken your immune system? You wonder how people have all these sicknesses and diseases.
My guest was raised in the Oscar Myers family, attended top schools in the country, and had a stellar career throughout her 20s that led her to working at Apple. Then, one day, her entire life changed forever when she decided to travel outside of the country, which, even pre-COVID, required specific vaccinations. What was meant to be a vacation turned into a health nightmare as she began to suffer a vaccine injury, giving her terrifying brain damage. Since then, her career has transformed. She's the author of hundreds of articles. She's appeared on TV, given presentations at Stanford Medical School, and has served as director at the California chapter of Children's Health Defense since 2018. Led by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the organization fights for medical freedom, which is a fight that ramped up 2 years ago, as we all know. Here to talk all things big pharma, medical mandates, and the censored truth about vaccines and vaccine injuries is Alex Meyer on The Spillover. Listen and share while you still can. Alex, the first thing that I want to say, I'm very jealous of you because your name is spelled way cooler than mine. It's A-L-I-X. Way cooler.
You are so cute. Yeah, my parents named me after the slain Russian Tsarina, Princess Alex in Russia, who died in the Bolshevik Revolution, because my mom was reading the book Nicholas and Alexandra when she was pregnant with me.
Oh my gosh, so are you Alexandra, A-L-I-X-A-N-D-R-A?
The full version is spelled normally, A-L-E-X-A-N-D-R-A, but the short version is A-L-I-X. So it causes a lot of confusion with my email address and things like that.
So much cooler than me. If my mom is listening, you should have done what her parents did. Anyway, no, I'm excited to have you on because this is a subject that, number one, maybe the subject that gets us kicked off everything on The Spillover, but also one that has been highly requested from cute conservatives. And we're going to talk about a myriad of different things that you're an expert in, which is, vaccines, vaccine injuries, also the big pharma, opioid epidemic, all of that. So we're going to touch on everything. But first, I kind of gave a little bit of a spiel on you, but I want them to hear it from you yourself. Could you explain what the Children's Health Defense is and then what happened that landed you there?
Of course. Sure. So what you didn't say in the intro is that Children's Health Defense is here to defend everyone's right to medical freedom. It's always our choice what medical treatment goes into our bodies, and we need to be fully informed before we make that decision. So instead of saying informed consent, we like to say informed choice, because it should always be your choice. And so there's a misconception about Children's Health Defense that it's an anti-vaccine organization, and that could not be further from the truth. It's actually an organization defending your right to choose what goes into your body, no matter what is going on in the political or scientific climate. And right now with COVID, we know that it's pretty much lawless and without any science whatsoever. So the way I found myself at Children's Health Defense on the national board is that I was vaccine injured back in the 1990s. At that time, I was in my late 20s. I was running a worldwide group for Apple Computer, and I went on a vacation with my family. But before I went on that vacation, I thought I needed to go to travel medicine. And at travel medicine, they said I needed 6 vaccines. And so I rolled up my sleeve and I said, yeah, give me all those. I want those. I don't want to get sick on my trip.
And it was the worst decision of my life. A couple weeks later, I was on that trip with my family in Bali and I collapsed. My legs turned into noodles. I started to get a headache that lasted decades, and I still have a headache today. But I actually became completely physically disabled. I kept going to my job at Apple. I come from a German family, the Meyer family. The family made hot dogs, bologna, and bacon, Oscar Mayer. Some of you might be familiar with it. And in German families, you need to keep going to work because otherwise you might get labeled a useless eater. And that wasn't really on my mind, though. I really, really loved my job at Apple. I loved the people I worked with. I loved everything we did. And I loved the content of my job, which involved fielding studies and interpreting them and presenting them to management. So I absolutely loved it, but I kept going in, and month after month, I got worse and worse. I started sleeping 16 hours a day.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
at about month 6 or 7, I became brain damaged. I literally couldn't read anything anymore. I could read very simple things, but I was reading the Wall Street Journal and I read 3 articles in a row. And I thought, oh, wow, there are 3 really bad writers in the Wall Street Journal today. And then I paused and I thought, well, that's actually not possible. It has to be me. And with all these other problems I've been going through, I can't read anymore. And I never put the label brain damage on it until later, but I was very brain damaged at that point. I couldn't remember the beginning of a sentence by the time I got to the end of a sentence. If you read a phone number into my voicemail, I couldn't remember it long enough to call you back. It was absolutely awful. And then I spent the first 3 years of my 30s housebound, 80% housebound. And it was a really awful way to go. I didn't have a diagnosis for the longest time. And it took me 13 years actually for doctors to put together all the puzzle pieces and figure out that I had been catastrophically vaccine injured.
What were the vaccines that you had taken?
I took hepatitis B, hepatitis A, diphtheria, tetanus, polio, and oral typhoid, all at the same time.
And so is that something that they still recommend for people that are leaving the United States to travels to get all of those?
They can, yeah. It depends on what country you're going to. If they're worried about foodborne illness, they'll say you need hepatitis A and diphtheria tetanus vaccine. If they think you might trip and fall, then they'll say, oh, you haven't had your tetanus recently, you should get that. And so a lot of them are very typical, unfortunately. And a lot of people get sick when they travel and they come back, Alex. This is really interesting. A lot of people think that they catch some sort of parasite when they're traveling to a foreign country, and they come back and they never look at the vaccines they took before that trip. And a lot of people think that they catch some sort of parasite when they're traveling to a foreign country, and they come back and they never look at the vaccines they took before that trip.
Wow.
And
yeah.
I've coached so many people on that. I said, well, you think that you got a parasite that never went away. Why do people in that country not have lifelong parasites? Why are they so productive still? Did you get vaccines before your trip? And a lot of them say, yes, I got vaccines before that trip. And then like the light bulb goes on in their head. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually vaccine injured. I said, yeah, you are. And now you have a path to get better.
So what was your process to get better? How in the world do you go from brain damaged, I can't even read, I'm forgetting things, having this chronic headache and things like that, to now, obviously, you're talking, you're reading, you're working?
Right. It was a very, very long road to recovery. I always say that it's a marathon, not a sprint. But for the first 3 years, I really had no hope. Nothing worked. Nothing helped me at all. I was still doing some traditional medical things. They put me on Plaquenil, which is hydroxychloroquine, which has kind of been made famous lately by the COVID pandemic. But none of that worked. It didn't do anything to help me at all. And finally, I discovered the gluten-free diet kind of by accident. And then half my symptoms went away and I was able to go back to work part-time consulting in high tech to all the .coms in San Francisco that then became the .bombs later. I don't know if you remember those times, but it was a boom and then a bust. And so I got to go back to work part-time, but that wasn't the end of my recovery. There were so many other things I needed to do to crawl out of that hole I was in health-wise. And it involved a lot of IV treatments, a lot of oxygen healing therapies, a lot of herbs. And then in the end, I did a lot of frequency medicine, and that's finally what pushed me over the edge to health.
One thing that is very fascinating to me is the fact that you're now working for Children's Health Defense, but also you spent years working for Apple. And so I wanted to ask you, Alex, when the lockdowns began a couple years ago, obviously it really became apparent then with the censorship that we were experiencing online, pushing these vaccines that we were seeing on social media. It was like Big Pharma was really in bed with Big Tech. It never became more obvious to so many Americans. And so being someone who once...
Now, a Florida teen is fighting for his life after doctors say he contracted a brain-eating amoeba. He got sick just days after a family trip to Port Charlotte Freshwater Beach. News 6's Carolina Cardona is live in the newsroom. And Carolina, you spoke with a doctor to learn more about these parasites.
That's right, Lisa. I spoke with Dr. Todd Husty, an emergency medical specialist in Seminole County. He does not treat the teen, but he tells me it's a rare disease contracted only through the nose that connects with the brain. It usually takes a large amount of water up the nose to contract the deadly disease. A trip to a Florida beach landed 13-year-old Caleb Ziegelbauer in the emergency room. According to his family, Caleb had headaches and hallucinations, symptoms particular of a brain-eating amoeba, a condition 97% of people never recover from.
It destroys brain cells. I mean, that's really what it does. It destroys brain cells.
Dr. Todd Husty, an emergency medical specialist in Seminole County, does not treat the teen who is currently at a children's hospital in Fort Myers. Doctors treating Caleb believe the amoeba entered his body through his nose and reached his brain.
So you can't get this from drinking water, okay? You can get other things from drinking bad water, but you're not going to get this from drinking water. This is water up your nose.
What are the probabilities of someone recovering from this?
If it's caught very early, there's a good chance of recovery.
Dr. Husty says symptoms start to show somewhere between 3 to 5 days, but once the disease hits the spinal canal, it's difficult to recover.
If you have been swimming in freshwater lakes and there's a new set of symptoms, the headache, the fever, nausea and vomiting, but if you get the stiff neck, it's getting pretty late. It's getting very late. So the stiff neck is the next thing that shows up. You really need to get to the emergency department. You need to put 2 and 2 together. Yes, I've got new symptoms. Yes, we were swimming in a freshwater lake.
According to the CDC, the amoeba is a single-cell organism found in warm bodies of fresh water.
So everybody needs to be aware that this time of year and on through August, the freshwater lakes are getting pretty darn warm.
Now, Dr. Husty says nose clips are a good idea if you'll be playing out in a freshwater lake. According to the CDC, from 1962 to 2021, there were 154 known infections reported in the U.S. Of that number, 36 cases have been in Florida. So far, only 4 people have survived from it. In the newsroom, I'm Carolina Cardona, getting results. News 6, back to you.
Line here on April 21st, 17-year-old Everest Romney got his vaccine shot. This was his first shot. The next day, he complained of a sore neck, had swelling in his neck. A few days later, Everest couldn't even move his neck because of the swelling without literally putting his hands on his cheeks or on his head to move his neck. Now, the pediatrician told Everest's mother that he thought it could be a pulled neck muscle from all the basketball that Everest plays. He plays a high-contact sport, and, looking back, his mother acknowledges maybe this shot could have caused some kind of inflammation that was exacerbated by the competitive basketball that Everest plays. But let's get back to that timeline. At the time, his mother knew the swelling, those constant headaches, even a developing fever. It had to be something she knew, but the pediatrician prescribed antibiotics, she says, a neck brace for a possible pulled muscle. Meantime, Everest, he just kept playing basketball. And then the migraine started. His mother finally got him a CT scan. Then she got another one ordered on his head, and that is when doctors found out he had 2 blood clots inside his brain, another on the outside of his brain.
Remember, we go back to Dr. Sebi. What did Dr. Sebi say? Dr. Sebi said that a lot of the sickness and diseases that we had was because of the mucus that was in the body. And the mucus, a lot of times came from dairy and stuff like that. But he also said that there were parasites in the body. Okay, that the parasites would feed on this stuff that we was putting in our bodies. So that's why alkaline diet makes it hard for them things to feed, right? So, is it far-fetched that they've been putting other types of parasites that we have no knowledge about what they do? We have no knowledge about how they interact in the body. We have no understanding of their life cycles. We have no understanding of their breeding habits. We have no understanding of the destruction or damage they can do to the brain or to any of the organs in the body. Okay? And this kind of just fell in my lap, and I was looking, I said, see, this is what we on to now. But see, we just waking up to some of this stuff today. But that doesn't dismiss the fact that they've been doing this stuff. That's how they already knew they could do it. They ain't wake up today and say, hey, we can put a parasite in the walk. They already been doing it. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. We just waking up to it today like, oh, look what they doing. But it's already been happening. That's why I say, guys, you roll with me, you're going to learn a different way to think. You're going to learn a different way to view things. You're going to look at things from a different perspective. You're going to check all your angles. You're going to cross your T's and you're going to dot your I's. Literally.
I wanted to show you guys something. I got a couple COVID tests from a friend, and I wanted to break them down and see what was in these COVID tests. What were they really doing in these COVID tests? Do you see the COVID test as tip wrapped with traditional fiber? Well, this fiber that's on here is the same fiber that comes out of my body. These are nanoparticles. I'm going to show you up close. Do you see that silver? That's a silver color. There we go. See how that's silver? There's a regular cotton Q-tip. That one's white. But this swab right here is a legit COVID test, and I broke it down, and these are the same particles that come out of my body. These are nanoparticles. These particles are alive and they move. I just broke it down here. Michael, hold this right here. That's the silver fiber. That's what's the COVID Q-tip. It's shiny, it's silver, and they're alive. You see that, people? Do you see them silver particles? That's all this. That's this. Right here. They don't even want to let go. See, that's not cotton. This is cotton. This is the COVID. This is a regular Q-tip. See, the regular Q-tip, it's not shiny at all. It's white. Put it next to that. You see the difference in material? One's shiny, one's cotton. This is cotton. Them are your nanoparticles. These are all the silver strings. You guys better leave them damn tests alone. That's what you better do. Because they're not doing chipping. Absolutely not. They're putting nanoparticles right into your head. I know this for a fact because this material, these fibers, these silver fibers right here, these come out of my body. They're called morgellons. If you don't know what morgellons are, go look at what morgellons are.
Dr. Casey has taken numerous fiber samples and says they're unlike anything she's ever seen.
They are not textile. They are not any known substance.
Dr. Casey was amazed by the mysterious fiber on Brian's hand and decided to have it tested. She tugs on it, but the fiber holds firm. Finally, it comes loose.
We took the whole plug of skin with it.
Dr. Casey and her colleague, Dr. Randy Wymore, take the samples to Tulsa's crime lab.
Morgellons fibers are not any known textile, cotton or rayon or nylon, not any of those.
What's more, the fibers don't burn when exposed to high heat.
Have you ever done a fiber that didn't vaporize completely other than the Morgellons fiber?
No. Many in the medical community are nonetheless skeptical, but people who say they have Morgellons are desperate.
These are silver fibers. It's not cotton. This is what the COVID Q-tip test is. You see that one down there alive? They do their own thing. Look, he's trying to grab it. He's mad. See him? This is what they put in the head. This is their COVID test. They're putting this shit right in the brain. Close to the brain. He's mad. Look. See him? He's getting mad. So you guys think I'm lying? I'm showing you live. Look at him getting mad.
He ain't even breathing on it, and it's fucking moving.
Oh, he got mad. You see him, Micah?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, they really are alive. Look at how they're fighting each
Look
other.
at this one. Look.
Oh, they got a link. Now let me see if I can impose them. This is the COVID test. Oh, hell
It
no.
just wrapped
This
around
is
that other
wild. This is so wild, y'all. I can't believe y'all let these people put these Q-tips in your guys' head. And I'm going to come over here to the regular cotton.
Nothing. There's the proof.
Regular cotton don't do a damn thing. It's not fighting. It's not moving. I'm putting it by. It's not doing absolutely nothing. 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 But these jokers right here.
Trying to keep his own reputation intact while
Hold it above this one. See, that one rose up to my finger. Watch.
Yeah, they get mad. The same shit. This is nanoparticles, more jillions. This is the COVID test. This is what the COVID test is. Look, he's still trying to come after me.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get on somewhere.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christiane Northrup. I am a board-certified OBGYN and former assistant clinical professor of OBGYN and the author of 3 New York Times best-selling books on women's health. My profession and many of my colleagues are getting thousands and thousands of reports about miscarriages, heavy bleeding, postmenopausal bleeding, even vaginal bleeding in 6-month-old baby girls who have either been vaccinated with this shot or been around those who have been vaccinated. I am very, very concerned about the number of deaths that have been associated with this COVID vaccine, and I would urge you to please do whatever you can to stop this injection agenda until we know more. Otherwise, I fear that we are facing an entire generation of people who will no longer be able to have children. Thank you.
Like I said, guys, we don't know what triggers what to happen. We really don't. But we know that it's a difference between us and the others. The sheeple are starting to wake up based off of the things that are occurring. It's happening. Some of them are waking up. But as far as putting the pieces together, understanding how this world works, they don't. That's not them. But like I told you guys, they put these things in place to make sure that they knock off a certain amount of people. You even go back and look at the wars, man, that took place. The certain wars we fought, and they just sending troops in, they get knocked off. Then they want to do the draft and draft more troops in, and get more troops knocked off. Like I told you, they don't tell you the real numbers of how many people died. They don't, and that's been that way. You look at how they used to fight in the Civil War. You ever watch like the wars back then and wonder, why are they fighting like this? Like the people literally would walk up with their guns, right? And they would have a whole brigade set up and be aiming their muskets right at people's face. And you got 1,000 of troops or more just walking dead into it, and the people just shooting. They not ducking. They not trying to get down. They not trying to hide. They ain't trying to put nothing over their face. They just walking and just getting shot. Like, you ever watch it like the old way they used to fight wars? It's like they was just walking to their deaths. Like they didn't even put up a fight. They would go walk into it, boom, boom. That first line of dudes and soldiers, they get knocked off for sure. And then the ones behind them probably gonna get hit too. I couldn't just be walking right into the bullet. That's what you supposed to do to be a man or a soldier? Nah. Like, I'm about to duck down. Hey, you want to walk? I'm going to get behind you. You take these first 3 shots, I'm gonna take out 3 dudes after that behind you or that's in front of you, and then when you fall down, I'm gonna get behind your body and I'm gonna shoot 3 or 4 more people before they get me. But I'm not gonna be in the front line of this freaking assault, attack, offensive strategy that we putting together. I'm not in the front. let the dumb sheeple be in the front. You see what I'm saying? Just like the sheeple signed up to walk out and take them needles right out the gate. It's the same thing, man. I'm trying to tell y'all how this world works, how it operates. They set these things up just like they set the wars up to get people killed. That's all they did. To knock people out. Population control. It's the same thing. It's just different levels to it.
Next we'll have Josh Sterling, a former insurance executive, a former #1 ranked Wall Street insurance analyst, insurtech advisor, an investor and founder of the Insurance Collaboration to Save Lives. Josh is an undergrad from Cornell and earned his MBA from Stanford Graduate School of Business, where he was an R.J. Miller Scholar, and he was working with Ed and looked at some other data sets. So why don't you add on to what Ed has to say.
Thank you, Senator. So since early in the year, I've been working with a group called the Insurance Collaboration to Save Lives, and it's a group of senior insurance executives from the life and health insurance industry who are very concerned about the rising mortality and morbidity, both from internal data that they've been watching as well as the external data. And so as a bunch of, actuaries and data-driven people, we've generated hundreds and hundreds of charts, looked at this every way from Sunday. But ultimately, and of course what you imagine we've seen is things like rising morbidity from lots of different types of harm, from like blood clotting, female fertility issues, obviously, lots of nervous system and, cardiac and multi-system problems, lots of different signals. And to Ed's point, also very clearly continuing adverse excess mortality. If you just look at the weekly numbers from the CDC, you see something like 10 to 15% excess mortality continuing as recently as the past few months. And so, that's very troubling. But if we roll to the next slide, the Senator asked us to show just the one chart that tells the entire story. This is that chart. The UK government, until this summer, was reporting a data series that showed the relative mortality rates for the vaccinated and unvaccinated by the number of doses of the vaccine. We've done what we think is really professional work with this, and we think it simplifies down to a conclusion that says that through the last available data set, the people in the UK who took the vaccine have a 26% higher mortality rate. The people who are under the age of 50 who took the vaccine now have a 49% higher mortality rate. And worst of all, the people who only took 1 dose of the vaccine have approximately 145% worse mortality rate. That last data point is on its face confusing, especially because it seems like there's more and more, it just doesn't make a ton of sense unless you realize that what's going on with this really is that the people who took the first dose in the United States, that's about 12% of people, but then stopped taking any other doses. Those people, through their choice to stop, disproportionately the ones who were harmed. And so what we're concluding is that if you happen to be an unlucky person who was in some fashion even moderately injured, with a minor injury, and decided not to continue, the statistics, the best statistics we have, show that you're going to have, at least through today, maybe it'll get better, and obviously we're all here because we're hoping to find treatments and cures and screening and interventions, but if that doesn't happen, we have to assume that this is now the baseline. There's going to be 145% higher mortality. And if you were to take these numbers and just apply them to the United States, that ends up being something like 600,000 excess deaths per year in the United States from this higher vaccine-induced mortality. And, that's obviously a really concerning thing, and I'm happy you called the meeting, and I know we all hoping to get to answers. Thank you.
And again, I thought that statistic on a single dose was pretty interesting because, let's face it, just about everybody knows somebody who took the first dose and had a severe reaction, they're not going to take the second one. So,
biggest question maybe in the politics of the coming decades will be what to do with all these useless people.
Big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
First, we've got population.
Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
I'm talking about population. They want more souls. I want less on the planet.
The new technologies will soon give some corporations and governments the ability to hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking computers, smartphones, emails, bank accounts, but the really big thing is hacking human beings.
Under this framework, the WEF proposes collecting data from many aspects of people's everyday lives through their devices, telecommunications networks, and third-party service providers. The World Economic Forum suggests that this data collection dragnet would allow a digital ID to scoop up data on people's online behaviour, purchase history, network usage, credit history, biometrics, names, national identities, medical history, travel history, social accounts, e-government accounts, bank accounts, energy usage, health stats, education, and more. But other than that, privacy. The Power of Data Intermediaries report, the World Economic Forum positions this digital ID framework as the part of the solution to a trust gap in data sharing, and notes that vaccine passports, which were mandated across the world during the COVID-19 pandemic, do by nature serve as a form of digital identity. Oh, wow. Do you remember that some people were saying these vaccine passports, even though what you're being told is it's for medical reasons to help prevent the spread of a virus and to save lives, which anyone would agree is a good idea, the concern might be that it becomes a template for future measures that enable centralised technocratic institutions to exploit and control you. The World Economic Forum also praises the way vaccine passports have allowed governments to harvest data from their populations without notice and consent.
His goal is to make sure that we have gene editing of humans as a routine exercise over and over and over and over again. And together with the likes of Yuval Harari, together with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, together with Anthony Fauci, the goal is actually having vaccines be the gateway drug to gene-edited humanity.
Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over.
That's over.
Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized, everything is being monitored. In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. But in a crisis, you see, we have no chance. So let's do it. People could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it.
So, fourth industrial revolution.
He talked about mastering the fourth industrial revolution. You got that? So the fourth industrial revolution involves 5 things that impact your life. Okay. 1 is COVID-19 stands for Certificate of Vaccination IDAI. Certificate of Vaccination IDAI. So in 2016, Joe Biden spoke at the World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab.
I'm very honored and pleased to introduce the Honorable Joe Biden, the Vice President of the United States.
Okay, pause. So we'll talk about this more throughout the day, but we'll make sure we're clear, okay? The fourth industrial revolution, if you go to YouTube, you can watch. It's a 55-minute presentation where this is the Honorable Joe Biden, says how he's going to implement the Great Reset. So if you're wondering why is there masks and quarantines and curfews, there's one. It's Certificate of Vaccination IDAI. Certificate of Vaccination IDAI. The 1 is an A, the 9 is the I. You feeling me? Okay. The second is they want to track where you are at all times by putting RNA modifying nanotechnology inside your body. In your body? In your body. In my body? In your body. What if I've already taken the shot? It's in your body. It's in your body. Uh-oh, it's in your body. Okay. Third is they want to make it impossible for you to buy or sell without proof of vaccination. 4, they want to get rid of money. We'll talk about this later, but Yuval Noah Harari, if you go to YouTube tonight, type in Yuval Noah Harari, IMF. He does a talk at the International Monetary Fund where they explain they're going to be getting rid of money. No more money. How do you pay people? With points you earn by your social credit score. Point number 5. It's called a social credit score.
It's time to wake up and stand your ground and flush out these WEF people that have been placed all through our government. They are throughout our government at the state level and the national level. They are in tech. They are in banking. There's been a 30-year campaign by the World Economic Forum to place their trainees throughout the Western democracies in positions of leadership. And here's my point in closing on that. Is your public, are you willing to let the same people that have totally bungled the management of this outbreak control your life? Are you willing to give up your freedom to let these people control you? Speaking for myself, the answer is hell no.
In order to collaborate on a large scale, you need to convince everybody to believe in the same story. What really the engine of history is stories. Mm-hmm. And they don't even need to be true. But you need to get everybody, or at least a significant part of the population, to believe in the same story. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Everybody will be safe if not everybody is vaccinated.
Forget the conspiracy. Listen to our government agencies. These guys are telling the truth. You know, there's no conspiracy here, folks. Just get your damn vaccine.
So, as I was saying, guys, my boy, he didn't get the message, okay? When I told y'all in the video before, if you was able to avoid the walk and everything, you've been touched, like you got the signal. Like, your pineal gland was not calcified to where you couldn't receive information, okay? You couldn't receive downloads, okay? You couldn't receive spiritual intellect. You didn't have spiritual discernment. These people, like I tell you, like the music and stuff, you know, I was able to have spiritual discernment about the music and stuff even then, before this stuff happened. You know, so like I didn't just wake up today or yesterday, man. I've been awoke. Like I've been, you know how when you like kind of like in between sleep and you wake up and then you got your eyes like barely open. Like you awake, but you're not fully awake. You can't say, well, I'm awake, but you're not all the way asleep. It's like a real thing, you know, like with your physical eyes. But there's a such thing also with your spiritual eye. Like your spiritual eye might actually be partially open. But then again, you got some people's spiritual eyes that have been completely calcified. Like I said, through different chemicals and medications and different amounts of dosages of fluoride and everything else. So these people, man, they already been detached from the spiritual world, which is what I told you they aim to do, and they put billions of dollars into doing this. This is why you can have them people vibrate low, and then they make the music because they want them to vibrate low. When people say why they want them to vibrate low, you know, this is part of what it's a biblical aspect to that. If you vibrate low, then you can't ascend. You can't even you will not have the ability to you will not have the ability to be on a higher level of consciousness. Okay, if you vibrating low, you will not have the ability to be on a higher level of consciousness. Your pineal gland, you're not going to be able to vibrate high if your pineal gland is calcified.
You will not be able to get on the frequency that you need to be able to be on to be able to get the downloads, to process the information, etc. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay, so my boy obviously was already in vibrating low. Okay, he was distracted. He didn't know the workings of the enemy. Okay, like me and my other boy, we was raised in the church, this, that, and other, and we had some ability to avoid some of the distractions. Okay, and that seed was planted by our parents, by making sure that we was aware of the tricks of the enemy, right? So it says in the Bible the devil seeks to grab pretty much as many souls as he can. Well, how do you grab a soul? Okay, people are always thinking of stuff in a physical. That's why I be trying to get everybody to understand it's not on a physical. Okay, the Bible, just like my boy was stuck on the fact, it was, everything's metaphoric. It's just a metaphor. Well, the Bible speaks in a spiritual sense. Okay, but if you're not vibrating high enough, you're not even gonna realize that. If you're not on the right frequency. Okay, if your pineal gland is calcified, you're not gonna be able to process the information that you need. You're gonna read stuff, and guess what? You're gonna read it in the physical. So you're gonna see everything in the physical. So for my boy, the music was on a physical level. His intellect would not allow him to assess what they was really saying, what the artist was really saying. You see what I'm saying? Whereas for me, like, I'm able to dissect it on a more intellectual level because I'm able to apply spiritual discernment with it, which gives me the ability to almost like X-ray vision, kind of like old boy, Roddy Piper in They Live. We able to see stuff in X-ray vision for the most part. Like, we see right through the stuff they can't see through. So that way we're able to avoid, just like I told you, Max Spears said in the video I put together before. Max Spears was talking about those that are vibrating high enough, they will be able to avoid the mass wipeouts. You see what I'm saying? Well, what's a mass wipeout? Well, how do you avoid a mass wipeout by vibrating high? Your intellect is going to be higher. You're going to be able to know certain things that other people don't know. You're going to be able to see and understand things that people don't see and understand. You're going to be able to avoid things that they're trying to do. You see? And that's why, like, we started our journeys a long time ago, so we were prepared to analyze these different, things that they threw at us and avoid the stuff that these others weren't. Okay? And that's why a lot of people, man, it's like, yeah, you have to get yourself right before Jesus come back. Yeah, well, we'll just say this. You had to get yourself right before these things take place, before you got yourself trapped here in this realm. Because if you were vibrating low and you were distracted by all this music, all this evil and stuff that they putting out here, then you would not have been able to see this stuff coming. And basically, you see what they doing. I showed y'all. They attacking people's spirit. They attacking your soul. Okay? Now, if they cut you off from the Most High, then you stuck where? You stuck here. You cannot ascend. Right? So,
with the information and with the work that people like yourself and others are doing, if people on this planet are aligned with that higher frequency thinking, they're going to their higher self or their oversoul is going to make sure that they're in the right place at the right time, so they don't get wiped out. Because there are plans to do big wipeouts. I mean, the Georgia Guidestones, exactly. Unfortunately is going to happen.
If you got yourself right before this stuff happened, and you was able to have your spiritual discernment, have your pineal gland open, your portal basically to the spiritual realm, then guess what? Regardless of what happens to you after this, you're not coming back here. You're not coming back here. You will go on to the higher dimensions. But it will take you having righteousness. Like, you can't have an evil person, man, going to the higher dimensions. You can't. Because you for one, you distracted. You're distracted by the evils of this world, okay? You don't have love in your heart. And if you're distracted, think about how you're distracted. You're distracted by the evil things that Satan is doing to keep you from being able to vibrate high, to make sure that you can't ascend. But he's making sure your pineal gland is closed. If he can make sure that your pineal gland is closed, your portal to the spiritual world, basically portal to the other dimensions outside of this realm. You see what I'm saying? If you can't get outside of this realm, then guess what? You're going to keep coming back to this realm, or you're going to remain here. Okay? And I really strongly believe that's where you end up with your ghost and stuff like that, or spirits. People talk about, oh, they seeing spirits and things. Those are spirits that are trapped here on this realm without a vessel. Okay? They trapped here in this realm. They not going nowhere because their souls are basically in hell. You see, like their souls have been trapped here. Okay, these are people that, I mean, it's a variety of different ways that you can find yourself stuck here. But first and foremost, primarily, if you don't have a open pineal gland, then how your soul gonna get out of here? It's kind of like a caterpillar in a cocoon, right? The caterpillar goes in a cocoon, and boom, the cocoon got to open for you to fly, for you to become a butterfly and fly away, right? So what if the cocoon never opened? Then your caterpillar is stuck in the dang cocoon. That means you're not gonna fly off in the sky. You're gonna be stuck. You understand what I'm saying? So I know a lot of this stuff I be saying, man, it can be hard to receive for some people, man. Some of y'all understand. And I think those that do have, spiritual discernment and have that ability that's vibrating high, I believe that they know exactly what I'm saying, and it makes all the world of sense. Like I said, if I talk this to my boy, I don't even talk this stuff to my boy, because I know he's not on that level. Like, we grow, guys. Like, at some point, me and my boy was on the same page. Like, I was just caught up and stuck in the music and stuff like that, just as he was. But at some point, I really started to ascend for far as my level of intellect and understanding, my spiritual discernment and stuff. That stuff started to come in at a rapid rate. I started getting the downloads, is what I like to say. That I don't think he really got. And I'm not even at the spiritual peak or nothing. I don't want you to think that I'm all claiming to be this all spiritual person. I'm not. I have a long journey to go. I know I'm still learning a lot. I know it's a lot that I don't do the right way. A lot of things, like even far as a meditation standpoint, that I have not really hit on, that I am lacking. But, everybody's going to get to that point in their own time. Well, some of us will get there. But I'm not like, no, it's not like I'm this, almighty person or nothing. To some degree, yeah, I very well am being used by the Most High to bring a message and to also reaffirm things for some of you guys that you already know. But I'm no better than the next man that's on this journey. I just have a platform and ability to speak to y'all, So, but like I was saying, like my buddy, man, he was really caught up in that stuff. And so, like when the stuff happened, he couldn't process the information that he needed to really figure out what was going on. Okay? And so he took the walk, man, and then he took his whole family. They all took the walk, man. I have people in my circle, people that was close to me, that I was able to prevent from taking the walk, and then now they're looking and they thank me. They're grateful, because I was able to stop them. know, I was able to warn them about the dangers and what was going on. My boy, you know, unfortunately, he didn't listen to me. He went forward with it. He went forward all the way with it. And it's been nothing but problems for them at this point. Nothing but problems. And there's nothing I can do at this point. I mean, he's had side effects. You know, his son has had side effects. I don't talk to him about everybody, but I know his girlfriend or fiance, she's had side effects. You know, and the daughter has had side effects. When I say side effects, it could be just as simple as they keep getting sick. You know, they're not, you know, like people are catching, you know, the virus. Like, here we are years removed and you still coming down with it. You know, people getting sick, like having to go to the hospital. Like, this is the stuff that's going on top of some other major side effects that's happening. And, you know, all I could do at this point, man, is like, there's hope for the best, man. I know they, most people are saying they won't do it again. They won't take nothing else. But like I told y'all, man, they want to make sure they got one in you. They want to make sure, regardless, they got at least the one. So that one has got to be very important. It's got to be something. I don't know. Like I told you, I don't know if it's just, you know, you got to have 2, got to have 3. I don't believe that. I think one, it was something that they made sure that was in the one. Okay, which one it was, I don't know. If I had to guess about what they made sure they put in at least the one that you take, I would have said that it was going to be some form of the Depop. That's what I would say, because that's the first goal, is getting the population down. That's the first goal. You know, that's the main one they gotta hit, you know. Now, whether they can say, okay, we're gonna get this many out, and then they figure, well, we probably not gonna get. Think about it. If you wanted to get the pop down to 500 million, then you already know you at least got to get over half the population to take the walk, right? So you already assessing that most people are, well, you're not going to get everybody to take it. That's a given. Okay, you're not going to get the whole population to take it. If it's 7 billion people in the world and you want 500 million left, then just give it to everybody. Chances are you're going to at least have at least a fourth of that wouldn't take it. Now, you can deal with that fourth of the population that's left in other different means. Like, you can figure out ways to deal with that. But if you just focus on the majority, okay, because they might have knew, hey, we're going to get most people to take the first one, but a lot of people ain't going to take the second one. So we'll get the first ones out, and then the people that don't come back for the second one, they won't get the tracking system. Okay, they won't get that. But at least we know we'll knock off the majority of the population. And I believe that's the approach they've taken. And I believe we're going to see more of this as time goes on. I have no doubt. Like I told y'all before, it's going to be a lot of people dropping. I told y'all it's going to be catastrophic. Okay? What I'm telling y'all now and what I've been saying before, it's happening. It's going to continue to happen. And if you doubt what I'm saying, look no further than the stuff that they're putting out now about how people, they're saying, oh, look, kids can have strokes, and they talking about, oh, doctors have been misdiagnosing people that were having migraine headaches, and these people are having strokes. Okay, the leading cause of death during the holidays is what? You guessed it, none other than your favorite cause of death now is the heart attack. Okay, why are they putting all this stuff out now? Okay, just like they said, if you don't take the walk, you can have a accident, right? So you start looking at everything that they're putting out, and they talking about, oh, all these medications. You go look around, they say these medications are causing cancer. I see that coming out every day. They got a new medication that's causing cancer. Oh, this blood thinner is causing cancer. Oh, I think it was lisinopril. They just came out. Oh, that's causing cancer. They got everything, all this stuff they saying is causing cancer. This is what they saying now, right? They saying all this because this stuff is happening to people, and they have to have a scapegoat. They have to have something that they can pin it on. And so people won't look at the walk. But, you know, quiet as kept, man, yeah, stupid people, you know, they're not saying, oh, it's the walk. They're like, oh, it's something else, and they buying it, okay? But us that's in the know, we know exactly what's caused from, and we know these people are in trouble. And they're not able to, you know, assess what's happening and really get an understanding of how they've been, you know, done at this point. So as long as they keep these different things popping up, this works. Okay, for us, when we see these articles, this propaganda machines that they put on there, we like BS, cut the crap. But you have to remember, you're vibrating on a higher level. You know, your intellect is at a higher level. You're able to see and assess these things. It's kind of like somebody that's like got real good vision, and they look at a crossword puzzle and boom, they find the words real quick, like everything, boom, 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 boom. They're able to find all the crosswords in the crossword puzzle. Like, that's how we able to look at stuff the same way like dude in the They Live movie. But if you don't have this type of vision, and your pineal gland is not the one thing that's processing what you're looking at, then for you it's going to be different. You're not going to assess the propaganda the same way, you see. And that's why they can throw these things at different people and they don't know what's going on, whereas we see it at a whole different level, and we able to say, no, man, y'all up here trying to pity. But that's the difference between us and the sheep, first and foremost. So understand that, guys.
We'll turn to Mr. Edward Dowd, currently a founding partner of Finance Technologies, a global macro alternative investment firm. Ed has worked on Wall Street most of his career, spanning both credit markets and equity markets. And Ed is, in terms of his financial background, has looked at financial information to identify a safety signal that is pretty interesting. Ed.
Thank you, Senator. Honored to be here today. My story is pretty simple. Our story is pretty simple. Josh has done some work as well. The bottom line, can I get the next slide, please? The bottom line is we saw 2020 pre-vaccine and 2021 and 22 post-vaccine. There was a mix shift from 2020 to 21 of excess mortality from old to young. So in 2020, it was mostly old people. We also saw a mix shift in disability starting to rise in May of 21. The excess mortality has shifted so much so that it's pretty phenomenal what you see here in the charts before you. This is not my data, this is the Society of Actuaries. In 2021, in ages 25 through 64, the employed people of our nation covered under group life, they experienced a 40% excess mortality. As quoted by a CEO of an insurance company, just a 10% increase in excess mortality is a 3 standard deviation event or a once in a 200-year flood, so 40 is off the charts. What's interesting about this is that the general overall population experienced 32% excess mortality. This group life policyholder subset is much healthier in general than the overall population, as done by previous studies. They experience mortality 30 to 40% that of the general population. So something flipped in 2021 by 8 points. Go on to the next slide, please. For disability, this is the next data set is the U.S. U.S. Department of Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's pretty simple here. We saw disability take off in May of 2021 above averages. On Wall Street, we follow statistical deviations. There was this 3 sigma event, 3 standard deviation rate of change year over year. And what we found particularly interesting was that the employed of our country experienced a 26% increase in the rate of disability versus the general population, which experienced 11%. To put some numbers on this, we're being very conservative on our start date. The number is probably much higher, but 1.2 million additional Americans in the employed segment of our population left the workforce or didn't leave the work, they got disabled. That is the size of the state of Wyoming and Vermont combined. They've disappeared from the labor force. So if you're seeing labor shortages all around the country, this might be one of the explanations. My conclusion and our conclusion at Finance Technologies is that the only thing that changed to detrimentally affect the employed versus the much less healthy general population is vaccines and mandates. We're open to discussions to see what could be the possible causes. But what I find interesting and curious is this excess mortality continues, the disabilities continue, and our health authorities have no interest in trying to figure out what's going on. This should be a national story in my mind. And then to end, Denmark and the UK have already stopped their vaccination program. Denmark under 50, they've now said no vaccines for anyone, they'd rather you get COVID. The Denmark data, if you look at that, that was a disaster and excess mortality, so they saw something clearly that our US health authorities should be seeing as well. The UK's stopped the vaccination for under 12. So my question, Senator, is why are our health authorities still pushing this vaccine if other countries are backing off?
That's a good question.
Hello?
Hey, Kelvin.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? You all right?
Well, yeah, I'm doing a little better after last night.
Yeah, what happened with you?
No, just Jackson and just. Ooh, I'm so sick of that nonsense. So yeah, we got beat up by Rock Hill pretty bad. We just look bad. So which is weird, man. I started reaching out to academies yesterday.
Really?
So I had like 7 on my list. I called 2 of them and got in contact with people. I got to get him the hell out of Prosper because he ain't never gonna get recruited if he's still messing around with that shit. But anyway, what's going on? Russ left and went to Rock Hill. He's a starting point guard.
Right, that's that Buckner kid, ain't it?
Yeah, Buckner's over there. So then we lost Addison Harmon because he got sick.
Right.
So we lost 2 kids that were basically in the starting rotation that were guards.
Right. So that.
And so he torched our sophomore kid last night because he's a sophomore.
Wow.
So it's just bad. But anyway, man. So what's going on over there with y'all?
Speaking of, that's what I was calling you about. The Addison kid. I hadn't heard much about him. I know everything that occurred with him. I didn't get all the details. I know he had the surgery and all that stuff that happened. And it's just ironic because I'm like, damn, wait a minute. Like, I got 2 of my best friends back home in St. Louis. And both of their sons had to have emergency brain surgery. So this is so rare that happened. The only kid I could think of that had, I was like, that kid Addison had the same thing. Now, I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together, and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself here, but coincidentally, both of them had got vaccinated. Now, I just seen some reports about other kids that had some blood clots and things in their brains after vaccination. And this the same thing that happened to both of them. And I
believe, if I'm not mistaken, I can call Chris, his dad.
I
believe Addison was vaccinated as well.
If you can get that information for me, for sure, because if that's the case, because they don't know, they're trying to say, oh, they don't know what happened, but both my son's friends were perfectly healthy, no problems. They played sports just like Addison. That's what brought me. I said, wait a minute, it was another kid that went to school with Jordan's buddy Jackson that had a brain, but I didn't know what happened. I'm like, a brain surgery, and he had you said, I think it was you told me he was having headaches at the house, and all of a sudden he had this go to the hospital, and he had his brain surgery and stuff. So the same thing happened to my boy, and he's been fighting for his life. Now they just finally got him out, and they still like got his brain open. Like his brain is cut open, and they're like trying to figure out what the hell happened. I'm like, dude, when did he get vaccinated? Like, oh, he got the booster and everything like a couple months ago. Other than that, he was fine. And my other boy, I just found out that his son had emergency brain surgery. I'm like, what is the chances? I got two of my best friends' sons have had brain surgery. One of Jordan's teammates, one of his teammates now then had brain surgery. I said, I've never heard of this much brain surgery on little kids. I just never heard of it. And it's happening too common, and I'm just trying to get them some information that might could help them out. So
I'll definitely get with Chris, but I know Addison was totally healthy. Like his parents, I talked to them, I know them real close, and they said nothing. There was nothing in his chart to show any of this, but he had a frontal lobe brain bleed. That's what he had. He had a frontal lobe brain bleed. They had to put him in a coma. They had to relieve the blood from the frontal lobe. And what that did is that cognitively messed up his speech, his ability to function. So he's learning how to re-walk now.
Wow.
I just saw Addison. Like his eyes have just now they just now are basically looking straight, because he had one of his eyeballs was basically almost turned around. So now he has to wear glasses. He's lost a bunch of weight. He wears this shunt on the back of his leg. It goes up under his foot all the way up to his knee, kind of a plastic thing to keep his balance. So he's walking without his cane finally, but he'll never play sports again. For him, he's just trying to have a quality of life, to maybe be married and have kids.
Right, quality of life. And at this point, I kind of think that's what my buddy's concerned about with his son, because he can't walk right now. Like he can't move his whole left side and stuff. Like they're not even.
That was Addison. He couldn't move it. I was getting ready to say that he couldn't move his left side. So his left side is still the side that's a little kind of weakish, if that makes sense.
Right.
Sounds like almost the exact same thing.
It sounds, yeah.
Chris, if Addison was vaccinated and had his boosters, but both of his parents are teachers, I got a good feeling that they were vaccinated and had their kids vaccinated.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened with my buddy. He did take their whole family, and unfortunately his son, he had this negative, reaction to it. And
now let me ask you this, and you know what's weird about that? None of my kids got the shot. I was the only one that got the shot. And I mean, not many people know this, but I almost died.
You did? From what?
I lost like 37 pounds. I was in the hospital. Like, I almost died. And I don't know why, because I got it because I'm an essential worker and I'm working in the construction industry. So I thought I needed to get it because I work around a lot of illegal aliens, and I don't know if they're vaccinated.
Right.
And, I got real sick. And, but my wife didn't get it. Jackson didn't get it. My daughter, they were home. Now, my older son may have gotten it because he played football at college, but I can't remember if they forced them to get it or not.
Oh, wow. So what?
I got it. Now, I got the initial shot. I got the two shots. I got the Moderna, I believe it was. I got the one where it had the phase 1 and phase 2.
Right.
But I never got a booster because I was just starting to see weird stuff. And then I got sick. But I didn't take no boosters. I'm like, at this point, I won't take anything else.
Yeah, because I'm hearing bad things with that booster. So
and I don't know, but aren't they on like booster number 2 or 3 now?
Shoot, I think they're on number 2 for most people, at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So
so I'm not. I refuse to do any more of that stuff. But I'll definitely get with Chris, man.
Yeah,
I
please.
Chris last night, but I'll definitely text Chris and see if his son got the shot, which shot, and how many boosters he actually received, and then ask him if they've been able to determine what it was, because both times he went into the hospital, Chris said they couldn't determine what the hell the issue was.
Yeah, that's what they said about my boy's son. They didn't know what it was. Oh, just give him a Tylenol and he's fine. Like, no.
Yep. Yeah. They couldn't tell anything. So they kept telling him he was dehydrated and this.
Yeah,
and
they
this.
said that. They said the same thing about him. They said he was dehydrated.
I'm like, dehydrated electrolytes? What are you talking about? He on the ground in a full panic seizure during a basketball game. He did it twice. And then they took him for all these testing. They couldn't find anything. And then finally, Jackson called his dad at the party and said, the freaking Addison's on the ground, and he said his head is hurting and he can't move. Then that's when they called the ambulance. They care flighted him, and he had immediate surgery.
Yeah, see, that was kind of the same thing. Couldn't move and had to be an emergency surgery. They like rushed them into this. So it's like they not seeing the stuff initially, and all of a sudden, bam, it hits them. They don't know what it's coming from. They don't know where it's at, and all of a sudden, bam, it hits them. So that's concerning. Well, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't get Jackson vaccinated. That's probably
good chatting with you, but I'll definitely get back with you on that information. Okay?
Yeah, because that'd be very helpful right now. So yeah, I appreciate it, Kevin.
All right, man. Later.
All right, later, bro.
All right, bye.
Guys, y'all just heard the whole conversation, right? You heard the whole conversation. Now I'm about to, I told you we got to do our own investigative journalism. I'm an investigative journalist. I'm for the people. See what I'm saying? I might not be on the ABC, the NBC, the MSNBC, the Fox, the CNN, the Newsmax. I may not be on none of that, right? But who else bringing you this type of information, going things directly to the people, getting the information directly from the people? Who doing it? This is what should be going on. I'm not Project Veritas or none of that, but I'm giving you the real spiel on what's going on. This is easy work. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a FBI investigator, detective. I'm none of that. Okay? I'm just a regular person, just like you, doing my due diligence, because this crap is gone too freaking far. And we don't have nobody in our corner looking out for the well-being of the American people or the human beings and mankind worldwide. Nobody's looking out for us. So in order for us to figure out and get to the bottom of stuff, guess what? We got to strap on our boots. We got to put our hard hat on, and we got to go to work. We got to go to work, and we got to figure out what's going on. We got to hold these folks accountable. We got to take it right to them like, this is what's going on. This happened to this kid, and this kid. This is why. Cut the crap. Cut the crap. Tell the American people, tell the people worldwide what the hell y'all done to them. Because this is some BS, man. This is some BS. And we got to get to the bottom of it. Let me find out. We about to get to the bottom of this case, man. Because like I just told y'all, man, in the videos I've been talking throughout this video, about I got two buddies, both sons, both took the walk, boom, both got brain surgeries and crap. This other kid that I told you my son played ball with, he can't play ball ever again. He got it going on, boom. And I'm showing the video to y'all so you can see it's another kid that's on the news. Like, come on, man. Like, when did y'all see this and hear about this stuff before? But if you didn't know me, you wouldn't know at least three. You wouldn't know at least three kids that we can identify that's had this problem. Then fourth, because I'm showing you the news article and the information that you probably wouldn't have seen. But there's been a lot of reports. But I'm giving you a direct line of information about 4 different cases now of people, of kids. We're not talking about grown people. So what are they doing? Why? Listen, if this is happening to the kids are dealing with it. This is how you finding out through the parents. But there are grown people that are having this happen to them. I saw it happen. It was at Miss America, Miss Texas or something, black lady. This was back in, like, I want to say 2021, end of 21, going into 22. She had a brain aneurysm or something. Boom, she was gone up out of here. Remember? I know I put it in a video. Okay, I'm gonna look it back up, and I might put it in here too. But I just wanted to point that out, guys, because look, we are behind enemy lines. They killing us and they hiding the bodies. Do you understand what I'm telling you? They are killing us and they're hiding the bodies. We are at war. The enemy is killing people. They're not telling you they're killing people, and they're not telling you that we're at war. You have to find out we at war by finding out by either you got shot or you gonna start shooting. And I say start shooting, that means start getting the information out, start letting people know what's going on so we can wage some kind of counter-offensive or some type of defense, level of defense against these freaking, I don't even know what you want to call it, because at the end of the day, I told y'all, the ones that are forcing this bio weapon on human beings, on mankind, they're not even human. I keep telling y'all that. The ones behind it that's forcing it, they're not even human. We've been infiltrated. I told y'all that. We fighting a war that most of our people know nothing about. Some of y'all still arguing over black and white. How stupid do you look today? You fighting over black and white, and it's another race of beings that are killing all the black and the white people. You think they give a damn about what color you are? This is the kind of crap. Why you think the media don't tell you about all of these deaths and crap that's happening to people that took the walk? Okay? But they do. They quick to put something on there. Oh, look at this white person that did something to a black person. Look at this black person that did something to a white person. Why? Because they want to keep the attention on that. Keep you and I distracted from the real threat that's making black and white people fight against each other, etc., and make people not like each other. They doing this intentionally. This is by design. Do you understand what I'm saying? While the real enemy is in the back, stealing everything out the cupboards. This is strategy. This is the art of war. And it's being perpetrated on us, all the people worldwide. Look, man, I put the clip in here too, man, because that y'all need to see that. The guy, DeMar Harlan, guys, obviously you can see, based off the video, it was a routine tackle.
Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin collapses on the field after taking a big hit from a Bengals defender. Damar Hamlin, he is now being carried off the field in the ambulance truck. This is powerful scene. Pray for Damar Hamlin. Bills and the Bengals player walking off field. The game has been temporarily suspended due to injury to safety Damar Hamlin. Ambulance for Damar Hamlin is still in the parking lot. Security is working on get his mother from the stands to ride with him. The ambulance carrying Damar Hamlin leaving Baker Stadium to the hospital. At the end, don't forget, pray for him. Thanks.
He didn't really even take the hit. People are like, oh, he took a hit. They take hits worse than that all day, every day. But you know what? Your body ain't going to handle it the same. Your heart ain't going to handle it the same. Why? Because your heart is weaker now. Why? Because you got this stuff in your system. You got those fiber things forming in your valves and stuff. So, boom, you get hit, that dang fiber thing loose, and next thing you know, it's floating around, boom, and it clogged up your dang arteries in your valve. Now your heart ain't getting the blood that it needs to flow. You see what I'm saying? I'm not no neurosurgeon. I'm not no cardiologist. I'm none of that. But I'm not stupid. I'm far from a dummy. I know that this stuff that's in your system is blocking things. I know if you get some of this stuff in your system, your blood ain't gonna flow as smoothly anyway. Your heart ain't gonna pump as good. Why? Because you got stuff blocking your system. You see what I'm saying? So with that happening, any little jarring action like that going on and hit your heart, or start to cause any type of disruption in the flow of your blood, it's gonna automatically cause some cardiac arrest. This is not the first, it's not the last. I told y'all, man. All these dang soccer players and stuff's been going on. I said, wait till it start hitting the NFL. Wait till it start hitting the United States hard. Remember, I told you, everything that's happening is going through the other countries first, then it's going to hit the United States. So all these like they showing about right now, China got all these massive people sick and all this crap going on. All these people that took the walk, all them sick and stuff. Guess what? We're behind them. So all that crap that y'all seeing over there is hitting here. And you starting to see it on the news. It's like, oh, the hospital's overwhelmed to get it. Guess what? This time they not playing. The hospitals really are getting jacked up. Why? Because you really got people really sick now. Really people jacked up. You heard what my guy just said. He said, oh, I took it and I got really sick. I got really sick. I almost died. That's what he said. Right? Now you look at what's going on. All these people across the world going into the hospitals. Sick. Something to think about, man. Something to think about. I'm going to get back at y'all. I really want to get this information from him about this other kid so we can complete our story and really know what's happening out here.
So, I got the answer. Damar Hamlin, the guy who collapsed on the football field causing the suspension of the Buffalo Bills game, was indeed boosted. The doctor posted on Twitter that he boosted him, so we know he took at least 3 of these shots. The most recent, December 26, 2022. So 1 week after being boosted, he collapsed suddenly from a heart event, which is the #1 adverse reaction to the jab, which we have seen in hundreds of athletes, pro and amateur, around the world. But it's a crazy conspiracy theory and dangerous misinformation if you mention that he was jabbed with at least a 3rd dose of mRNA poison 1 week before he suffered the same adverse reaction as thousands, if not more, than others of athletes around the world. Thank you very much.
So as we've said multiple times, and it's worth saying because it's a sign of respect for the man tonight in the hospital, we don't know exactly why Damar Hamlin collapsed last night. But at the same time, there are concerns about cases like this. Young athletes collapsing on the field of heart problems. And there has been a dramatic increase in this you're not imagining. But what is this? Cardiologist Peter McCullough and researcher Pangis Polycretis looked into this trend in Europe, European sports leagues. They found that prior to COVID and the COVID-19 vaccines, there were roughly 29 cardiac arrests in those European sports leagues per year. Since the Vax campaign began, there have been more than 1,500 total cardiac arrests in those leagues, and 2/3 of those were fatal. Does that prove something? We don't know, but you should know that. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist. He's also the author of Courage to Face COVID-19. He joins us tonight to assess. Doctor, thank you so much for coming on. So this is one of those phenomena that people who use social media are aware of because there are videos of it floating around, but I don't know when the last time I heard, if ever, an American public health authority address this directly and tell people, what is this? Is this real? Tell us your findings from your actual study on it.
The concern here is that athletes at a professional level, Tucker, are carefully screened for underlying heart disease. The leading cause of sudden death on the playing field is hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. The athletes are screened for this. There are rare conditions, genetic abnormalities in heart rhythm that can present. But sudden cardiac death should be a very unusual phenomenon. And as your report indicates, it's extremely unusual in the NFL since the high level of scrutiny. There's a differential diagnosis that doctors go through when this happens. I watched it live and then I watched the replay as a cardiologist. To me, it looked like he made a hard tackle. There was head and neck impact, but he got up, he clapped his hands, and then he fell over backwards. It looked like a primary cardiac arrest. Everything that was done on the field looked perfect. I think the duration of CPR and resuscitation is going to be in a window where he can have neurologic recovery. The issue is what caused it. And the concern based on our research is that COVID-19 can cause myocarditis or heart damage. The heart damage in some cases can be asymptomatic and the initial presentation can be a cardiac arrest. There's other things in the differential, genetic abnormalities of heart rhythm disturbance, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a spinal cord type of interaction with the heart. But I think the leading concern here is vaccine-induced myocarditis if indeed he's taken the vaccine. And boy, the family, the Bills doctors, and the current doctors at University of Cincinnati Medical Center have a public health obligation to tell us if he's taken the vaccine.
I think that's fair in the coming days. Now, the CDC, it seems to me, since the absolute numbers of heart incidents among young people are dramatically up across the West, and the CDC, as far as I know, has not been honest enough to address this. They sent out a tweet the other day saying, You know, you may be struggling with blood clots if you're a young athlete. I don't remember athletes struggling with young blood clots. It seems to me like they're trying to tell us this is normal. Is it normal for young athletes to have life-threatening blood clots?
We should never have our agencies try to normalize side effects. The FDA says the vaccines cause myocarditis and heart damage. Autopsy studies show it can be and is fatal. The same is true for blood clots and neurologic damage. Our agencies should be protecting the health of Americans, and safety is job one. I'm disappointed that they're minimizing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think honesty is a prerequisite for trust. When people are honest, you can trust them. But when they lie to you consistently, you can't. So we appreciate your coming on tonight. Dr. Peter McCullough, thank you.
Thank you.
So, you start looking at that, man. You say, what do they all got in common? You don't say. But, what I want to point out to you guys is that, think about the things that will pop up in the past, okay? You had people having these heart conditions, heart murmurs and stuff like that. You had kids coming out, you know, dyslexic and things like that. You have all these different issues, and you don't know what to pin it on. It's just, oh, it's just a rare condition. They just happen to have this stuff. No. This stuff, all these things that have occurred, as I keep telling y'all, is a direct result of human manipulation with the human body. Tampering with people's bodies, people's minds, and doing things to them, putting stuff in their system.
But Dr. Madej, can you tell us about your session on the Stu Peters show?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you two both know that I've been looking under the microscope, of normal compound microscope you have in college or high school even. And I was able to get samples that were verifiable, and they're Moderna and J&J, and just looked at them under the microscope with just the white light and having it warm to room temperature. And I wasn't expecting to see much, but on several occasions, I was shocked to see what I did see. And the first thing was noticing that there were colors that appeared over time, meaning there's a translucent nature to the fluid, as you might imagine. And then all of a sudden, this colorful blue, colorful purple, colorful green, bright yellow appeared, and more voluminous as time went on. And I never saw that before. There wasn't a chemical reaction, no human tissue was added. And then I was told by some genetic and nanotech engineers that would be analogous to a superconducting material. So in other words, an injectable computing system. And that when white light hits it from the microscope, then it would make the electronic components appear. And so I saw Morgellon-like fibers, graphene-like material, and saw what was most concerning that everybody was talking about. The very first time I was looking at Moderna was this tentacle-like spider, scorpion-looking creature. And it was, you know, alive, whatever you call alive. And it was at the edge of the cover slip, so it was able to come up off the glass slide. So it lifted itself up off the glass slide. And it was in 3D, suspended in space. And one of its little tentacles actually moved, so it was alive. And it was actually pointed, over time, pointed its tentacle up through the lens, to the lens, where's my eyepiece. So I was with a colleague, and we both said to each other, well, we feel like it was self-aware, like it knew we were looking at it. So I'm laughing now, but at the time I was not laughing. And it was very upsetting. And so I thought, well, maybe this is a fluke. And so another batch, and 2 months later, of the same Moderna, looked at it again. Same thing was there. Same thing under the cover slip. And so the Stu Peters show was really good, because when I showed these things, there were several people that contacted Stu and myself saying, this looks like this creature or this creature. And one of them was called Hydra vulgaris. Have you heard of that? Anybody?
Oh,
I didn't either.
sounds like vulgar water to me.
So it's one of the 6 model organisms. And it's the 6 model organisms because it's one of the keys that these people in human genomics and transhumanism really love. And the thing with this one is that it's immortal. It doesn't die. It continually recreates its stem cells. Get this. It also can regenerate innumerable times. It can regenerate so well that if they put it in a blender, blend it up, then take all the pieces and put it back in a petri dish, it reassembles itself, but miniaturized.
Oh my God.
Yeah, oh my God is right. So I was reading this, and who is really looking into it is UC Davis in California. And so I brought up their webpage. They work with the NIH of the Hydra 2.0, taking on that human 2.0, title. And in it saying how they thought it was wonderful to use this in the evolvement of humanity. Oh my gosh. So when this UC Davis is looking into it, you have to look up on their website. Please, everybody look it up. At the bottom of the website describing this Hydra vulgaris, they have, you can click on this. Now, this is a biology department. Click on this, and it is their Hydra playing card. They have 131 playing cards. Now, this is not a study card, a playing card. And at the bottom of the playing card, it says, Hail Hydra. Have you ever heard of Hail Hydra before? Anybody out there? I didn't until I had somebody tell me, that's from one of the Marvel characters, this evil Nazi group, get this, that was able to get an organism to be injected inside of a person that would take over its brain and be connected to an AI program. Was that predictive programming or what? You can't make this stuff up. This is a bona fide college program with their Department of Biology listing this. So also there, and I haven't had time to research, I just found this out last night. Also there's mRNA, a lot of studies done with this particular organism, and the nanobots all together with gold nanoparticles. So this is definitely a key. So this was a very favorable thing about going on the Stu Peters show, because I was kind of stumped. I'm like, what is this thing? I can't figure it out. And so when a lot of the viewers sent this information, it was quite helpful and at least disturbing, to say the least, yes, but at least it was helpful into understanding a little bit more what might be injected into people.
Right. Now, what about the parasite polypodium?
Yes, that's another one it could be as well. That's still a Hydra-like organism, to my understanding. Now, this is a new field for me. I'm learning, so forgive me if I get something wrong here. But I can tell you, when they described the Hydra vulgaris, at least, they described it as a stalk that had an adhesive glue on its base where it could stick. And what I saw in the first time when this one was alive, it did have this adhesive base, and it was able to put itself up, wave in the air. And it doesn't have a brain, they said, but it has a neural network. And that's interesting, they say neural network, and it can still interact, right, like a brain. Because that reminded me of what Elon Musk said he would like his Neuralink project to do, is to make a neural network in the brain. And he said this is going to happen very quickly, right? So this organism already has that. It has the potential of doing that. And it's the potential of miniaturizing itself or expanding itself too. It's pretty crazy. So when I was looking at it under the microscope, it also said the tentacles have the ability to put a stinging, paralyzing agent in their little tentacles. It's just, I don't know, that's all I know. We can take it from there.
What I find extremely fascinating is that in medicine, in science, when you have an observation, somebody should be curious enough to say, wait a second, is this reproducible? Is this something that, if a physician found this and other people have been looking at the liquid in the shot and have noticed things swimming around. I mean, Robert Young has also talked about a parasite and graphene oxide and aluminum that he's found in the shots. Now, shouldn't somebody just be curious and utilize the scientific method and say, wait a second, if Dr. Madej found this, shouldn't we be looking at it further to see if, in fact, there are things in these shots that don't belong there, especially when no one is overseeing the manufacturing process and the manufacturers have full immunity to any liability, and people are getting sick, and over 15,000 deaths have been reported to VAERS, and over 750,000 adverse events have been recorded to VAERS, and over 1,600 fetal deaths as of September 10th have been reported to VAERS, all of which may account for only 1% of the total number of deaths, adverse events, and fetal demises, making the numbers much greater. Shouldn't somebody in the curious scientific community say, wait a second, we have to investigate this?
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
That's the whole problem, isn't it? From day one, we would post things, all of us. We'd say, well, this seems like a good idea. Increase vitamin D and vitamin C, and don't wear a mask because that inhibits oxygenation. And then I listened to this other guy out in California who says wearing a mask cleaves some enzyme that makes it harder for the immune system to work. And then I'm just listening to Ryan Cole talk about how the mRNA can get into the cell because they changed one base pair so that it overcomes what are called toll receptors, like TOLL. I keep thinking you got to pay the toll to get in there, but they have hijacked that. So now the innate immune system in those who've had the shot has become compromised, and they're seeing many, many, many more cases of cancer. They're seeing people who were in remission from cancer, the cancer's coming back. They're seeing far more cases of shingles, the kinds of things. Remember back in the day when we were in medical school and you saw shingles in immunocompromised people who tended to be older. And now you're seeing shingles in 9-year-olds. So that's just the immunity. But what you're talking about, Carrie, is beyond creepy. It's just beyond creepy. And there has to be a way to kill those suckers. I keep thinking there has to be a way. There must be something that we could do to them. And I have been conversing with Gene Decode, who's got the Morgellons protocols for using MMS, using a mud mix of diatomaceous earth and activated charcoal, and the gallbladder liver cleanse, and then the saltwater seaweed cleanse. That'll all be available on his website, blessedforservice.org, probably in the next week or two. And he said in his own body, if you do a hay bath, alfalfa hay, where you get a bale of it, make it organic, and you get in a bath with the hay, which I understand is a mess, he calls them spiders, and it sounds like what you're seeing. He said the AI fibers, the Morgellon fibers, the spiders will leave the human body and go to the alfalfa because they're looking for magnesium, which is in chlorophyll. And then, of course, then after that's done, that's 20 minutes and you dunk your head and you can see them with a black light. And my trainer, Eric Hilton, did this, and there was one little AI fiber that was looking alive, and it looked like a graphene oxide chain, kind of. But then you got to put on gloves. Well, first you have to take a shower then with Dr. Bronner's peppermint soap, which he said is a universal antidote. And then after you're done with that, you put on gloves and you take the hay and you put it all in a garbage bag, and then you strip the gloves off and put that in the garbage bag because you don't want those things getting back inside you. Then you clean the tub with diatomaceous earth and activated charcoal. Now, I haven't done this at night yet because I tend to take my showers in the morning, but I did buy my black light from Amazon. And I do think we all at this point, either through the water, through chemtrails, through being around people who've had the shot, chances are good that we all have some of these little things in us. The question would be, how many? Can you get a hold of a booster and do the same thing? See what's in there?
Well, the boosters are all the same as the first shot anyone gets, right? Because all they're doing is they're no different.
Right.
I personally think over time they've kind of tweaked the ingredients based on how the people react. I've seen the reactions change when people get the shots, but no, there's no difference between a booster and the regular one. And I haven't seen the difference between a child's dose and an adult dose. Has anybody else seen that? I haven't heard of that.
That's true.
Maybe
Regular
someone has
vaccines as well.
Yeah, it's
vaccine,
unbelievable.
You're going to see a 10-pound baby get the same dose as a 20-pound baby.
Yeah. And I just want to caution everybody on this. Like, if these manufacturers are lying, just like I said, at the Johnson & Johnson, I saw these lipid particles loaded in Johnson & Johnson. To me, it was worse than the Moderna. So that proves that there's some kind of a lipid particle in there. They're lying. They say they didn't have it. Okay, so are you gonna trust Regeneron? Are you gonna trust Remdesivir? Are you gonna trust any of these other experimental drugs they're putting out there for you? Do you trust what they're doing? Be so careful, everybody. Buyer beware. Because you just do a little bit of research and you'll find that they'll block you in knowing what exactly is in there. You'll also, there's no long-term studies, not even really barely any short-term studies. And know that a lot of these are created from aborted fetal cells. And know that they're using humanized mice. It's called a chimera when you mix one creature with another organism, right? And they also are transfected mice. So they're transfected is, you're taking two words, you're putting infected and transformed together. So just know that they're using these genetically transfected, humanized mice antibodies in you. And know that these Velocimune, that's what the name is that they're using of the mice, the magic mice. They've used these in cancer drugs before, particularly with breast cancer patients. And I did not see good results in the breast cancer patients when they got these. They looked great in the beginning, but in 1 to 3 years, they could have a very aggressive recurrence, very aggressive. And so I'm really worried that they're using the same kind of mice antibodies, the same kind of Velocimune, whatever they're calling the cells in this concoction too. So please, everyone, do your due diligence and research this.
I think it's so outlandish for people. I just talked to a nurse today, and she said, I'm losing my resolve. I have to pay the mortgage for my house. And, I really don't know what to say to people. It's your life or your mortgage. And if you're dead, it doesn't matter about your mortgage. Or if you are in the matrix, stuck in an embryonic state where they're taking your life energy, or you're in a sanctuary city, a model city like New York or Portland, Oregon, or Portland, Maine, and you're in the matrix, as Klaus Schwab says, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Well, because you won't be able to think, you'll just be hearing the thoughts they put in. Did you see anything in those shots that looked like the magnetized iron oxide nanoparticles?
I didn't see anything, I was up to 600 times magnification that I was able to get to.
Okay.
And I also had some videos that I was able to take of the motion in the fluid, which it was more than Brownian movement. Brownian movement's the natural movement that you get between particles. There's more than that. Some of these things were actually searching things out. So we had living organisms in there, even Moderna. They're not supposed to be in there, but they were. So I did see that. Now I did see metallic kind of objects in there. And I don't know what they were. They're different shapes. They looked more exotic to me. It wasn't like looking at normal things that we're supposed to look at under the microscope. And I did a lot of laboratory work in college. And so, I'm used to looking at slides. I'm used to looking at all different kinds of biologic organisms. I was not familiar. This was blowing my mind as I was looking at it. So
what would make for the color changes?
So when colors appear and there's no chemical reaction, no human tissue involved, only white light, that was considered to be a superconducting material because white light can make it exposed. That's how you know where the electronic components are in a microscopic electronic component, like an injectable computing system. That's what they were doing. And I can tell you, this is laborious what I was doing because I took only 3 drops, let's say 2 drops.
Okay.
It took me hours because I would keep scanning. So think of like having a, I don't know, 20-story building with all these rooms inside, and you're going layer by layer, and then each room has something different. But then I'd go back and the room was rearranged, or more things were in the room, and it was like, what? It's like it's not uniform. There's definitely not uniformity to this. And I felt like it was Lincoln Logs being put together. So I could see a whole new world if I went over it the hour later. So this is something that's tedious. It takes time to look through. You can't just like observe it, oh, done. And maybe that's what some people are doing. You take your time and look through as the light hits it, as it's warming to room temperature, and as it's self-assembling. Because there are pieces in there and it's putting itself together. Because it truly is, in my opinion, an injectable computing system, an operating system that's being put inside the people. That's my opinion.
And you're saying that because of the color changes?
The color changes and it's the self-assembly.
Right.
There was self-assembling going on. And there's some of these little moving organisms, I don't know if they're synthetic or biologic or both. They could move so fast and they were like nudging something, like bumping it to see if they want it. Then to me, they were shopping. They go to the next thing, bump it, maybe they want it, they grab it. Then you go to somewhere else. I couldn't believe what was happening. And one thing, more than one thing, it was moving so fast across the microscope, I could barely follow it. And then it would stop on a dime, then go up, then go down. It reminded me of seeing an anti-gravity aircraft, but on a microscopic scale. I mean,
would be interesting. What would be interesting is if you took some form of electromagnetic field, brought it closer to the microscope, like a cell phone, you bring it towards and then you put it away, and on Wi-Fi, and you see what happens when electromagnetic forces come near the slide.
I think my shock has gone down now because I have to tell you, I did a lot of crying this last time.
Yeah,
I did.
Wow.
It's hard. It's hard to see that because I didn't capture everything. I didn't capture the worst part. It wasn't capturable on a photo or a video.
Right.
And so, but I'm better now. I'll do more testing.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's something different about me because this doesn't surprise me one bit. So when I hear about it, I hear about it, my system just says, oh yeah, well.
Okay, well,
Joseph Mengele on steroids.
Yeah, but it's different to read about it. I talk about it too, but then I sat there with my own eyes. It was there. It was so close, so personal.
Yeah.
And then I kept thinking of a child getting it. That's not the adults. The adults make their choice. I mean, I care about adults, but it's the kids, the little kids.
So did it look like that stuff that Celeste Solom has the pictures of where the hydrogel begins to organize itself?
Yeah, there were different pieces. It's hard to, I'm going to try to get more video of this and maybe speed it up because it happened over, time lapse. But there were so many different kinds of pieces. So maybe there was already starting to self-organize within the vial before, I put it on the slide. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, where did that come from? And I don't know if it's just because the light made it appear, the colors made it appear, or and then there's spherical objects. I mean, there's so much. I felt like I was looking at a new little universe underneath the microscope. It's so strange to me. It was almost like you're taking pond water and looking at it, and there's so many different things that you can see. This is not a medicine. Like medicine's uniform. Yeah. So it's
Carrie,
not
I wonder what you're seeing. I wonder how much of that is able to jump from person to person. Not just what it does inside the person. Remember the whole idea of self-spreading vaccines.
Yes.
And we know that very many people who are not getting the shot, who are called unvaccinated, are also getting sick. And so we're blaming the unvaccinated getting sick on the unvaccinated because we couldn't possibly have a toxic bioweapon in people who are getting the shot then be transmitted to others who could possibly get very similar symptoms. I think it's very fascinating that we are in this place, and you know, how do we get this curiosity, this, hey, don't you think you guys should look at this attitude? You know, what do we do? What do we do to, you know, Stu Peters? That's not enough. How do we get more of this? Hey guys, you know, we looked at this slide. We need you to look at this slide. How do we challenge the powers that be that they need to look at the slides? They need to look at the material we're looking at, and not some doctored vial that they then bring and say, nope, nothing in it, just clear liquid, which you know they would do.
I know that some laboratories have told me that they would find some things and then they'd go back the next day and their entire lab was gone. Everything inside the lab was just gone and nothing on the cameras. So perhaps you can't make it so out in the open. And you've got to, you know, I tell people this is the time we go underground for a short period of time until we regroup.
Wait a second. You're saying that people in labs made it public, and
they weren't able. They told some. They told some. You know, maybe some quietly, some groups of people or a few people, and then the next day they went, and it's happened more than once. And there's nothing left in their laboratory.
It was cleaned out.
Yes, everything's gone.
So it's not like the material in the slide was so toxic that it destroyed the lab.
The entire lab. The room was there. The cameras were there. There's nothing in the cameras. All their equipment was gone. So they didn't want to do it again. Because I questioned why some people didn't come forward with some of the things they found, and that's what they told me. And I trust they were telling me the truth. That happened more than once. So perhaps we need to go underground for a little bit with some of these things. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, have you heard anything since you did the Stu Peters show? Have you gotten a lot of emails, a lot of comments, whatever?
Yeah, I've just been trying to see patients today, so I haven't really had time to really look at that. I mean, there's a lot of holy, you know, cuss words, exclamation point, people looking at it. But, you know, and I did talk to some researchers that are in Europe that have some equipment, and they were trying to guide me in what they thought some of these things were. Mm-hmm. But they've had some of their research stolen as well. So, but we're hoping to work together more now and see what we can come up with. And we're brainstorming together because now we think this link with this Hydra vulgaris and perhaps any organism associated with it, like you said, the polypoid, I think that is key in knowing what they're doing. And we have to know what we're dealing with before we can come up with a solution, right? Because we're not just dealing with AI, we're dealing with something that's organic and biologic. So we have to look at both of those. And what do we do if somebody that this becomes more invasive within them? You know, we just need more education right now. And, you know, I need to focus more of my time on that and working with some other people with that.
So thank you, everybody. Dr. Northrup, always a pleasure. And we will see you anon. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night. Bye-bye.
They've been tinkering with us for a long time, man. A long time. And some of your family members, friends, and loved ones that have passed away that you didn't think nothing of was the direct result of human influence, direct human manipulation of people's bodies and health. That's what I'm telling y'all, man. And we look at the stuff that's happening from people that take the walk, but guys, the walk wasn't the first deadly walk. It wasn't. Okay, just like I'll tell y'all, if think about this, guys, think about this. We had SIDS, right? We got SIDS. SIDS was it is directly related to them giving us some type of walk, of babies getting some type of walk, and it has an effect later on, just knock them out. Okay, you don't think they had some adults dying from this stuff before too? You don't think so? You think it's only been little babies, huh? Is that what you think? Guys, we gotta get outside the box and start putting the pieces together. You behind enemy lines. It's been a slow death. They've been working on concoctions to slow kill everybody for a long time. This ain't brand new. It might seem like it because we starting to catch on. Just because you woke up today don't mean the party just started. Okay? Just because you woke up today don't mean the party just started. You just got the invitation. You just got the invitation. And so now you get hip to how this world functions. And like I said in my video, somebody said something about it, like said my animal analogy kind of brought things in a perspective for them to really understand what we was going through, what we was dealing with. And yeah, I mean, to put it bluntly, man, like they don't give a you know what about us. They don't give a freak about you. Understand that, man. You are nothing but an animal to them. You are nothing but a piece of flesh that means absolutely nothing. Your baby, your child, your life, like your emotions, your pain, they don't give two craps about you. Not a damn. Understand that, man. And that's why they treat us the way they do. They look at us the same way we do animals. Like, you got them people in the slaughterhouse, they just running them cows and stuff right through there, chopping their heads off and stuff, blood shooting everywhere. They don't give two craps about them animals. But some of us, humanitarians and animal lovers, like, shoot, we don't like to see that. Like, I still have a hamburger, but at the end of the day, I don't like to see it. And it might be some of them that's like that too. They don't like seeing the torture that they put the babies through to get the adrenochrome and stuff like that, but they still gonna enjoy that dang adrenochrome and keep their youthful look like some of the celebrities and such, man. So it's just understanding, man. Once you understand that they run this world, okay, they're the ones in top in all the positions and stuff. They didn't just start running this world yesterday. They didn't just start running this world today. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. They've been running this world, so they've been putting manipulation tactics and different ploys in place to manipulate us. But you say, well, dang, that, well, in what form? Well, what forms did they have to manipulate people before? Like I showed you before, guys. I took you back and I showed you the video before from when they did the whole mask thing, like back in 1918 or something, like way back. Okay, you talk about the bubonic plague and stuff. You talk about the Spanish flu, right? You think this is just an accident? Think about it, guys. They would do this stuff. They knock off a certain number of people in the population. They tell you a different number. Like, think about it. Think about how many people. I'm telling y'all right now, it's about 20 million or something more people that's dead right now due to the wall. How many numbers have they given you? How many numbers have they told you have died from the wall? What are they telling you people died from? They still talking about people that caught the CV, right? And they fabricated that so that they can influence people to take the walk. That was the real killer. Remember I put that pastor on, man, Pastor Sandy that came on and said, hey, they're about to start giving people the walk, and that's what's going to kill you. Don't take it. God told me to tell you. Remember that? I might play that again. I might find that clip. But what I'm trying to tell y'all is that they've been doing this. This is how they knock off population. This is how they get the numbers back down. This is how we end up with empty cities and people taking photos like, where are all the people? All the people have been knocked off. They've been knocked off. And they're going to do it again. This is what they do. Okay, like I said, they run this world. They do the stuff how they want to do. Okay, like I told you, some people back then was getting knocked off. They were sitting back waiting on Christ to come back. And they got knocked off. And they gone. Okay? They understand, like I said, though, if you don't succumb to these evils of this world, then yeah, you still be able to move on to the other dimensions, right? But that still doesn't dismiss the fact that you were sitting here waiting on Christ to come back, and boom, you all of a sudden got knocked out. Okay, like people sitting back and saints sitting back waiting on Jesus, God to come fix this situation. Like he finna come fix this situation and knock up all these evil people. This ain't these evil folks' first run. That's what I'm telling y'all. This ain't the first run. And then I ain't saying God don't exist. I'm not saying Jesus and all that ain't existing or whatever. But what you have to understand, this world was pretty much given to the devil to do his dirty work here. Okay, this ain't the world where that you expecting it to be. Okay, the world that we supposed to have peace and paradise and everything else is on the other levels. Okay, it's on the other levels. But what I'm telling y'all is that they've been doing these different events. Okay, they do these events, and yeah, today we're a little more knowledgeable about how it works. Some of us, okay, we're in the know. Okay, believe it. Some of the people that died back in the 18 or 1900 stuff, they knew what was going on. It was some folks like me and you that was hip to what was happening. It was some. We ain't the first ones. You know, we know because we wide awake. You know, and however we get there, I don't know. Like I tell you, like some of us are more awoke than others, more awake than others. But I don't know how we got to the point where we are. I couldn't tell you how this happened. You know, I know you can only look at your own upbringing and stuff. Like maybe you missed a couple of your schedules. You know, maybe you didn't drink a lot of milk. Maybe you didn't consume as much fluoride. Maybe you drank a lot more bottled water. Maybe you was out in the sun a lot. That stuff.
Ants are a part of the most disciplined, dedicated social system on Earth. Until, that is, they become slaves to behavior-controlling parasites. Suddenly, these rogue ants no longer serve the colony. They're taking their orders from the parasite. Okay, let's back up. Now, how did this happen? It all begins when the ants in any town, USA, consume the slime of a passing snail. They divide it up and take it back to the colony. This is a blunder of epic proportions. Turns out, the slime is loaded with eggs of a body snatcher called the liver fluke, a type of flatworm. The liver fluke burrows into a part of the ant's brain, and for unknown reasons, it's almost like the fluke enslaves the ants and orders them to carry it to their next hosts. Any grazing mammal host with a nice warm liver will do, but in this case, a cow appears. The liver fluke worms can switch the ant's behavior on and off, causing the infected ants to place themselves in easy-to-eat positions at dusk when mammals are feeding. No cows in sight, ants act normal. Cows appear, ants are in essence ordered to take their positions in purple flowers and latch on. The cows ingest the vegetation, the ants, and the fluke larvae inside the ants all in one bite. Once inside the cow, the worms burrow out of the stomach and into the liver, where they develop into adults and dine on liver tissue. They lay eggs that are excreted from the liver into the bile duct and then defecated by the cows. They don't kill the cows, but the cows become weak and emaciated, devastating herds. And all because of parasitic mind control.
So guys, continuing up with what I've been discussing with y'all the last few days here, man. And I apologize, this video long as hell, man. It is long as hell, I get it. But it's so much that I really needed to discuss with you guys, because we're coming up on some pivotal times. A lot of stuff is coming out, right? But the main thing y'all gotta know, man, and I keep on reiterating it, man. I keep reiterating. Let's just rehash real quick. We're just gonna do a quick rundown of important facts that we are coming, you know, that's coming to our attention. Okay, first and foremost, what do we know? Number one, we don't run this world. Okay, we don't run this world. Okay, number two, the ones that do, they not like me and you. Okay? They not like me and you. Number 3, they are not trying to keep you alive. They are not trying to keep you alive. That is the last thing that they trying to do. Number 4, they run all of the information. Okay? They run all the information. They influence everything that we do. Number 5, they lie. They lie about everything. Everything you have ever known has been a lie. Okay? They lie about everything. All right? Why is that significant? Because when you go to get help for problems that you got, they lie. They tell you it's something else when it's really something else. Okay? They try to push it off on something, and they hide the damage they've done with more lies. Okay? Number 6, they have programmed and indoctrined all of the professional people that are innocent, that are pure and just genuinely trying to do their job. They have pretty much indoctrinated them to a system to believe the stuff that they're pushing. So they believe when some of these doctors tell you what to do and stuff, they actually believe that this stuff is going to help you. Okay? The stuff that's really going to hurt you, they believe it's going to help you. And that's because they've been indoctrinated into the system. They bought into it. Now, number 7, most importantly, okay, they are trying to connect everybody to a hive mind way of thinking. Okay? They're not just way of thinking, but they are actually connecting everybody to a hive mind. Once they connect you to this hive mind, you no longer have control of your mind. And that's why I put the little clip in her dealing with the ants and stuff. See, that's a level of science. They say trust the science and all that. Advances in technology, and stuff they found out. They don't tell us about the stuff that they know what to do and how to do it. Like, and there you saw that the ants, they would suck up on the slime or whatever that was off the little snail, and that would cause their minds to be pretty much taken over. Okay? So this is the type of information they know about and they utilize against us. Okay? Now, if they get that in your system, in your mind, what is that going to cause you to do? How is it possible to take over an ant's mind with this stuff and not take over a human's mind? Or can you take over the human's mind? But also, you look at, then again, they are injecting a parasite. Okay? What does the parasite do? We don't know. I guarantee you one thing, Dorothy. They're not injecting that thing for no reason. It's going to have 1 or 2 or 3 different effects. Either number 1, which I believe strongly, because it's an intelligent parasite, it knows what the hell it's doing. Number 1 is going to control your mind. Mind control. I believe that is one of the main things that it's capable of doing. Number 2, I believe that it will potentially lay eggs and things and harm you. Okay, that these eggs and things that are going to be inside your system, I believe that it will harm you some kind of way. Number 3, I believe that this intelligent parasite is able to be connected to a hive mind of some sort, or connected to something. I believe they're able to control it or utilize it to whatever they want to whatever advantage they want to have over you. I believe they're able to do that. I believe they're able to do that. So those that are putting this stuff in us, man, these ain't the first parasites they done used. And that's why I was showing y'all in the video. You see how the parasite that they got from the Amanobi, whatever parasite that they talking about, oh, some people get it from the water or whatever, and it pretty much goes in people and eats on their brain and stuff. Remember what I told you? Think about this, guys. That particular parasite it's the same thing. It goes in and it affects people's neck. Like they necks and stuff get swollen and stuff like that. Why are we talking about parasites affecting people's necks, and they get stiff neck, and then they get these migraines, and then all of a sudden they having seizures and things, and they die? Okay? Same thing that we dealing with the jab. People are coming down with stiff necks and things, and then they coming up with migraines, and then they have emergency brain surgeries. Y'all see what I'm saying? So you take all that into consideration. Now, we talking about the same type of parasites. What we got to understand, though, is that they're not going to tell us that this is what's really happening to you. Just like I told you, a lot of these sicknesses and diseases that you hear about that people have, they are nothing more than parasites in the body, okay? That's why they don't want you to get parasite killers like ivermectin and stuff, okay? Because that's going to kill these parasites that they put in your body. That's why I told everybody, y'all got to get a cleanse. You got to cleanse yourself, okay? Whatever you do, I don't care what kind. Use all the cleansers that you can. Kill any and every type of parasite that could potentially be in your body, okay? You heard how, you've seen how this stuff works. You understand that the parasites are infesting people's bodies and minds. You got to do what you can to combat that, all right? They're not going to tell you this stuff on the news. They're not going to tell you this stuff on the news. They're not even going to tell you that parasites is the reason. Like that lady was saying, parasites potentially are what cancer is. Know how they talk about, oh, it's spread throughout the body, it's spreading by. What is spreading? Is this parasite moving? Is it a migration or a large concentration of parasites? You know how parasites like fly larvae and stuff like that, they start to move along a piece of meat and eat it till it's gone. Same thing with the parasites, right? Parasites go into the skin or go into the body, get on an organ or something, and they just go and move along, and they start eating that stuff. They'll call it what? A cancer or whatever, right? So you like, oh, I got cancer, I need radiation treatment, blah, blah, blah. When really you need something that's gonna go in and start killing and attacking the parasites, right? So, but they don't want you to know that because they want to make money off you. So they put the parasite in you so they can start eating at your body to begin with, so they can start making the money. So I believe that's kind of the program that they run it. And like even Dr. Sebi said, if you don't have the parasites and things in you, then you're gonna be likely be more healthy. So you got to get on the alkaline diet. Parasites can't stand alkaline diets and things like that. So that's a big part of it, guys. Getting the parasites out your body, because you don't know which kinds you got. You may have the intelligent parasites, you might have some other parasite, but you think about all the different immunizations and things that they've been forcing and putting on people. Who knows the timelines? I said before, who knows the life cycles of these parasites? How long it takes them to reach full maturity, what they do when they reach full maturity, how they breed, okay, what do they eat, okay, what kind of toxins do they leave with their feces or whatever, right? And what do they do over time as they progress throughout the body? How long does it take for them to reach certain parts of the body? Do they focus on trying to get to the brain? Okay, do they have some type of level of intelligence or some type of a way of knowing how to navigate the body to get to certain organs, such as the brain, to inflict harm on people? We don't know that. But if these are parasites of intelligence, we don't have any idea of the level of intelligence of these parasites, okay? And we're not going to be given this information. But if they are intelligent, if they possibly even as intelligent as you and me, they could be on a straight warpath as soon as they get in your body. They could be on their way to attack certain organs and things to bring you down. That could be their main focus. Or are they programmable parasites? Okay, and the reason I put that testing thing is in here because I told y'all with the test, they had parasites in the test. So think about it. If they go in, boom, you know, and I've talked about this a many day. They go in, they put the parasites, they put the test right up in there, boom, the parasite, they take the cotton swab thing off, or they move it around in there, and then parasites, I mean, who knows how many millions of microscopic parasites is on each one of them tests. And they get to fumbling and spitting that thing around in your nasal cavity, and they done broke through the blood-brain barrier, and they done dropped them parasites off right there in your brain, right? Just like they do with the damn ants. Okay, now they got full control over you. I told you guys, I had folks that started talking to me real different after they took the test. Okay, and after they took the walk, they started trying to force me and talking crazy to me. Some of y'all dealt with the same thing. I'm telling y'all, these people were connected to the hive mind. They were being controlled, mind manipulated. They were no longer themselves. Okay, this is what's happening to people. So you have to look at what they were doing and what kind of control those mind control parasites might really have. All right. So I just wanted to put that on you guys, man, because I felt like that was a big part of what's happening. And like a lot of your folks, man, they may not be the same folks that you once knew them to be once they're connected to the hive mind or once they got control over their brains. All right. So I know this stuff sound crazy, sound like a sci-fi movie, but we ain't in Kansas no more, Toto. We ain't in Kansas no more. Like, what we also don't know, guys, is these brain injuries, are these brain hemorrhages and such, are these the result of the brain rejecting these parasites, like these parasites trying to take over these people's brains, and their brains are under attack, and they're having a breakdowns because their neurological system is being damaged by these dang parasites tinkering with their neurological system. Kind of like when if somebody was to try to steal your car, and they break up the dash and they start trying to hotwire the thing, right? You try to hotwire, they can fuck up all your stuff in your car, like your whole, I don't know if anybody ever had that happen. I've had somebody try to steal my car before, and they broke open the dash, they messed with a whole bunch of wires and stuff. They didn't get the car, but they jacked it up so bad I had to send it to the shop because it was all messed up. The computer, everything, the system was jacked up. That's what I'm telling you. If they try to hijack your body or your mind, or some of these people minds getting so jacked up during the hijacking process that they are dying or they're unable to function. You see what I'm saying? Like, we got to be realistic and look at the type of stuff that might be happening, okay?
What is over the top, getting the FDA to arrest or go to the FDA, under whose authority, told the post office to interdict packages coming from overseas pharmacies of ivermectin and destroy them. Really? Why are we so afraid of this drug, right? You know, remember George Carlin, the 7 drugs or seven words you couldn't say on TV, and ironically
yes.
Now you can say all of those words, but here are the 6 words you can't say. You can't say nitazoxanide, chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, fenbendazole, and chlorine dioxide. You say those 6 words. In fact, the chlorine dioxide will throw you in jail. I would never tell people to use that. I just use it myself. But those 6 words are just death to you if you're on the internet. Now, why is that? Because it's about parasites. And, you know, in real science, doctors to get together and they talk about things, they share ideas. Everybody's got a little piece of the puzzle and it all comes together. And I think that's really happening now. I talked to Celeste Solem. I was at a meeting recently with Karen Kingston. I've talked to a bunch of people, the 5 doctors. We all get around, we talk together. And I tell you, this is coming together. And I really think there's several reasons why I really thought this was a parasite problem to begin with. And one of the reasons is, if you think about the cancer breaking out, there's been a lot of talk now that cancer and cancerous parasites. I believe it's going to turn out there are no viruses and cancerous parasites. This is what I think it's going to turn out. That's the new paradigm. But in the meantime, we can say that they are doing a lot of research on ivermectin and cancer, and there's an underground treatment of cancer using fenbendazole that's very effective, and that's why people are doing it. They might be still going to the MD Anderson or their different universities for their cancer care,
Guys, I'm afraid that we are witnessing the most catastrophic, the most sinister, the most epic, the most insane set of circumstances, the most sinister act in the history of mankind. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm afraid we are witnessing it. We are bear witness to it. Remember I made the video, bear witness? You're bearing witness to the worst event, the most destructive event in the history of mankind. You are witnessing it right now. This will go down as the worst disaster of our lifetime. The shot heard round the world. The shot heard round the world. You thought the shot by John F. Kennedy was big? Nah. This shot is the shot that will always be remembered as the worst shot of all time. When I say, guys, we finding out firsthand that people are seriously impacted by this, man. I just had another conversation, man, and it's starting to unveil some things to me, and I'm starting to really put a picture together of what's happening, what's going on, who the culprits are, and it is not looking good. What's even more troublesome is that all these people, this stuff is going undetected in most people. Now, y'all heard my conversation about how my guy was telling me the player had the headaches constantly coming, boom, 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 and all of a sudden it hit him, he couldn't do nothing. That was a severe case. It went undetected for too long, and he didn't go get an MRI. You see what I'm saying? See, if you go get an MRI, and this is what I'm telling y'all now, if you took the walk, go get an MRI, go get a CAT scan immediately. Do you understand what I'm saying? Immediately. If you have headaches since you got in the walk, if you've had headaches, migraines, or neck pain, okay, since you've taken the walk, go get you a CAT scan, go get you a MRI. Remember what was that doctor? I think it was Dr. Hollis. He was saying if you took the walk, go get a PT scan or something over your lungs, and you're gonna find massive microscopic blood clotting on your lungs. But what I'm telling y'all is that I think that there's a correlation there. Understand what I'm saying? I told you I'm not a doctor, I'm not a cardiologist, I'm not a neurologist. I think there's a correlation there. Okay? These spike proteins, they go in. I'm just going off I'm not a doctor or scientist. Okay? I think that these spike proteins, they go in and they cause blood clotting on your it causes blood clotting on your lungs, but catch, just to catch, it also causes blood clotting on your brain, but guess what? It's microscopic on the brain too. You heard it here first. Did you hear what I said? Microscopic blood clotting on the brain too. That's not being detected. It's going undetected. So people not seeing much on the lungs because it's microscopic. Not seeing nothing on the brain because it's microscopic. What else we know is microscopic? Parasites. Y'all see where I'm going with this? Say, dang, that. Well, I ain't no. Hey, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a free-thinking man whose pineal gland has not been calcified, and I have a decent IQ, and I can push stuff together. I can process information because I ain't been fluoridated to death. Yep, that's my explanation of what the hell's going on. And you know, guys, I've been on top of shit. I've been on shit like a year, 2 years early. And I tell y'all stuff in advance, and then y'all get word from the media and stuff. Media ain't telling you this. These folks, due to the spike proteins and these microscopic spike proteins, microscopic parasites, they are going in and they are freaking up people's. Think about it. Those parasites, remember the parasites that they found, guys? Dr. Kerry Majay, right? Found a parasite. Think about this. What else did they find with the parasites? Y'all don't remember. Found eggs. Found eggs. See where I'm going with this? So, say you got one of them microscopic parasites in your system, in your brain, in your body, and it's laying eggs. What do those things do? Matter of fact, what do they eat? How do they live? These are the type of questions that should be asked. Am I wrong? Hey, put a thumbs up if you feel me. Put a thumbs up if you feel me. What do these things eat? What do they do? Everything got to eat to live, right? Got to drink fluids and stuff. What are they doing? They're laying eggs. What are these eggs doing? Y'all see what I'm saying? How long does it take for these eggs to hatch? And once they hatch, how long does it take before these things become full-grown adult parasites? These are the type of questions that should be being asked. And once they become full-grown parasites, what do they then do? Do they lay eggs? Remember the video I did with the alien? And they went in the body and they laid an egg or something. The alien hatched and bust through the dang body, bust through the chest cavity of the dude. What I'm trying to get y'all to do is to think outside the box. Start asking questions that these are the real problems, so we need the real answers to those. We don't need to know, oh, there's an infection, oh, this is long COVID, man. BS. What is the life cycle of these dang parasites that y'all done injected people with? Yeah, that was the question, because we're not even supposed to know those parasites are in there. So I guess what else we ain't supposed to know? We're not supposed to know what the parasites do. We're not supposed to know what those parasites are capable of, what kind of destruction. We don't know how many thousands of eggs them things lay. Are those eggs, are those sacs microscopic blood sacs on the brain, or are they going in, digging into people's brain and causing these blood sacs or blood clotting in the brains? Are they causing these microscopic blood clots on the lungs? See, and the reason I have to say that, man, because if you think about it, remember I told y'all the case about the scabies. What do the scabies do? Well, they microscopic, like microscopic organisms. You need a magnifying glass to see them, but what do? They burrow into the skin. They burrow into the skin. They go in and lay eggs, similar to tapeworms and stuff. So you got to understand the functionality of a parasite and how they spread, how they breed, how they manifest in the body. Okay, so if you got a parasite in your system, in the blood supply, what does it do inside the body? If outside the body it tries to burrow into the skin, if it was inside the body, will it try to burrow into the organs? I'm just taking a wild guess here, guys. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. But I'm a free-thinking, intelligent man. And these are the type of questions that need answers, not the BS that y'all throwing at us. So, anywho, guys, I just wanted to put that out there because I'm digging into this stuff, man, and it's not a pretty picture. It's not. It's not. But these are the type of investigations that really need to be going on. From real scientists, real doctors that want real answers. And it's bringing real, you know, real probabilities and real experiments, real inquiries. You know, people ask the right questions. It's like the news, they go on, they ask the wrong questions intentionally so that you don't get answers or start thinking too much. They don't want you to start thinking too much. See, right now I got y'all mind thinking. I got y'all pondering. I got y'all looking like, man, wait a minute. That is something to, yeah, right. Y'all thinking like, man, wait a minute. That is something we ain't thought about. Anywho, guys, just want to lay that on y'all real quick, man, because something y'all need to think about, man, is if these things, like we said, and I had that movie on, it was a clip from a movie, I can't remember what it was called Omicron, when the guy had some kind of creature in his brain, took over and everything. So if these things are in your body, how long does it take, and how many millions or billions of people across the world have this stuff in their body, and we're waiting on these things to hatch, waiting on these things to lay eggs, waiting on these things to reach full adult maturity? And does that mean, is it fatal at that point? Those are questions we need to be finding out. They said 3 to 5 years, man. Think about what we're dealing with. Sudden adult death syndrome. From what I'm finding out and what I'm digging into, that is nothing more than brain hemorrhaging, brain blood clotting, to the point that it causes instantaneous death. You heard it here first. The sudden adult death syndrome, it's not a heart attack. I don't think it's a heart attack necessarily. And if it is, it could be the heart attacks too. But I'm telling you, they also tying in the brain, the neurological damage, the emergency brain surgeries. Because you got to think what happens to these people that don't get the emergency brain surgery. I just talked to my buddy, and I was telling him, because I watched the video I just showed y'all, and it showed the kid that played basketball. He was like 6'8", 6'9", and he had the you know, the neck pain, and then he had the brain, the headaches. So his wife, she's had the neck pain, so they started giving her Botox, right? And she's also got the migraines. It's all after she took the walk. So if this is true, and I don't know if it's just gonna be, you know, isolated incidents, because it's the patterns and the different symptoms seem to be similar. So that would mean that she, you know, Lord forbid, because I don't want to wish this on nobody, like I said, but it's a good possibility she might be in the early stages of deep brain thrombosis, or what they call it, or developments of blood clotting or aneurysm. That she could be couple weeks, couple months, maybe a year off from that happening. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm telling y'all, get with your folks, man. Start finding out, start asking questions. See who's experiencing what. And I think that'll kind of put us in position to understand and know what's going on out here, because a lot of people have no clue. And you think about it, my buddies, that everybody that I talk to, the kids that experienced this stuff happening to them, they all went to the doctor and stuff, and they told them it was just a headache or whatever, and they gave them like Tylenol, they gave them ibuprofen or whatever, and they went home. Now, I haven't delved into how many times they went to the hospital, how many times they went to the doctor and got sent home. I don't know how many weeks, I don't know how many months, I don't know how many days this stuff transpired before boom, it hit. But I do know this. I will tell you this from my investigations is that my one buddy, his son, he took him, they went pretty early. He had some headaches and stuff. They went pretty early and they was able to kind of handle it, okay, to some degree. I don't think his went as far as the other two, okay. Now, my one boy, he took his son to, and they told him the same thing, told him his headache, boom, boom. We kept going back, and finally they just said, you know what, let's just go ahead and do an MRI, CAT scan. Boom, saw it. Hey, we gotta do emergency surgery. Boom, they was on it. Boom, they saved his life by doing that because he was getting ready to hit a critical point of no return. Now, the other kid, he went, I do understand from what I was told, he went several times. They sent him back. And then the last time, he ended up having a headache. He got to a point where he couldn't move. He was at like somebody's house. He had a headache. He fell on the ground. He couldn't move or whatnot. He started having seizures. Now, granted, he had a seizure before because of this. It was the same thing. He was having seizures. So it got to the point where he's having seizures, and then it became emergency airlift to the hospital, okay, where they had to do an emergency surgery on him. But he was farther along on the stuff that started to occur, okay, because blood clotting causes, if you look up blood clotting in the brain, it causes seizures. It causes strokes, okay? It causes these problems. This is what he experienced, okay? He has got to the point where he started experiencing that. Now, my buddy, no, the video I showed you saw the guy, the kid, he had the pain in the neck, just like my guy. His wife's having that problem now, and she had got Botox. And then it also elevated to migraines in the head, okay? So she started having the migraine headaches. Same thing happened to dude. I don't know how long after that process. I don't know the whole timeline. But I just told him, like, yo, go get your wife checked out now. Go get her checked out. He like, yeah, we were thinking we were going to do that anyway because the doctors are baffled. Notice how that doctors all of a sudden baffled. We got real problems and all of a sudden doctors don't know nothing. But I know something. You see what I'm saying? I'm not a doctor. Y'all ain't nobody paying me no $200,000 a year. But I'm telling you right now, hey, go get her checked out. How come doctors, you mean to tell me these intelligent doctors and scientists don't know nothing? You mean to tell me the media, they ain't seen or heard enough? You mean to tell me these people in these hospitals ain't seen or heard enough to be able to make a diagnosis or at least have a conclusion or a thesis about what the heck is going on? This is all by design, guys. I believe that, and I'm just saying, it seems like these episodes with people having brain problems is starting to come quicker and quicker and more prevalent and more prevalent. And if that's the case, that would mean we going into year 3. Said it, guys, 3 to 5 years. Year 4 and 5, I think it's gonna be, if you got it in your system and then it's gonna be at that point, it's gonna be, hey, for year 4, 5, man. I'm telling y'all, I think this stuff is really, really starting to hit the brink. Starting to hit the brink, and it's about to get crazy. So I just want to put that on y'all real quick, man. Bring y'all up to speed so y'all know what's going on. I think I put a lot in this video, man. I know it's jam-packed with all this information about this stuff. And if anything, guys, I told y'all we got to do our own investigations, everything. Y'all start asking your people, ask your folks. I'm finding out when I talk to people, they're telling me they have bad side effects. I just talked to a dude, he said he didn't give it to his son because he had a bad reaction. He almost died. I talked to my other guy. He said that he's got anxiety problems. And the doctor saying, oh, you just because of your old age. He said he's having tremors and things. Okay, this is what he said. And he said his wife is having the migraines and the neck pain. So you see what I'm saying? Like everybody I'm talking to, and my buddy, he's sick all the time. So everybody I'm talking to, man, either they had the side effects early and they still got side effects and they ain't talking about it, or they have side effects that's really showing up now. But regardless of the fact, guys, talk to your folks. We got to start putting together some type of data, some type of our own clinical database, and some type of information got to get out there to the people that are looking for answers about what's happening. And some of y'all friends and loved ones, man, I'm telling you, they got side effects going on, and they not telling y'all because they don't want to hear you say, I told you so. And it ain't even about saying I told you so. It's about the fact that this is about life and death. And if these people having side effects, then they need answers. But they too, and think about it, in a good world, they could look up the side effects that's going on, because think about it. These are the same people that look at what? They're going to use Google, right? They're going to look at YouTube. They're going to look at Yahoo. They're going to look at those sources that are perpetuating the lies and the ones that are deceiving them. They're going to look to them for information, because they have censored, they suppress people like me. They suppress real doctors. They suppress and censor real information. You can't look on Facebook. You won't get the information. They've censored, blocked, and banned people that report side effects on Facebook. So where do these people have to turn? The only people they had to turn to is you and me. We the only people that can tell these folks what's really going on with them. And show them others that have experienced this, because we know where to look. We know where they can find this information. They just looking. They don't want to say nothing to nobody. Some of your friends and family members, they are scared to death. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And the last thing they want to do is come to you because you told them. And they don't want to hear that, I told you so. And I'm telling y'all, it ain't the time to be like, I told you so. But it's a time to be trying to help them get some type of assistance. Show them that they're not the only ones experiencing this. You're not alone. There's others. We need to come together, and we need to fight back still and push back these mandates, push back the crap that they done put on everybody, and trying to still push these boosters, still putting out these commercials, lines of folks hiding the results. This stuff needs to be out there, guys. Just like the guy Damar Hamlin the other day, and stuff happened with him. How many athletes is going to experience this? Remember, I had the video before when there was a guy from Buffalo, Cole Beasley, and he was like, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. How ironic is it that a guy from Buffalo, now Cole Beasley was a wide receiver. I'm going to probably try to put that clip in here where he was talking about it. And then he was saying, Cole Beasley was like, I ain't taking it because we don't know this, blah, blah, blah. But they was making all, remember they was making all the football players take it, all the NFL players, especially in Buffalo, New York. You was taking that because all the people was having to take it. And the governor was making it a point that y'all all gonna take it. Okay, and that's why Cole Beasley was on there saying that. How ironic is it that a wide receiver from Buffalo that did take it, and his doctor, and I might put that up there, the doctor showing that he had given him the booster, or the turbo booster, whatever, less than a week ago? Less than a week and a half. Well, less than a week before the incident occurred. What is the chances? But you know what? The sheeple can't process that and put all that information together. It ain't working like that for them. Trust me, I've talked to some. They still can't put two and two together. Now, granted, I've seen some that's starting to come around like, wait a minute. Yeah, but we ahead of the curve, guys. And like I said, man, y'all, just think if we had a real news station, you know what I'm saying, where we could actually broadcast to the world, hey, put the dang needle down. This is what's happening. But no, we don't. And we don't have that level of support to reach all these massive amounts of people. Like I said, man, I've done what I can to reach as many people as I can, and those that have supported, that have helped me to be here, to be talking still, y'all are probably just as much as responsible for keeping some people from seeing an early grave. Quiet is kept, man, because it's a real thing. It's just unfortunate that we ain't been able to reach as many people as we probably would have liked to, because it's a lot of people, man, that we gonna find out. And you just like me, man, you gonna find out people took it that they ain't even tell you. They lied to you, told you they ain't take it. They just didn't want you to hear your mouth. I'm finding that kind of stuff out, man. It's sad, man. We in some we in some troubling times, man. We in some real troubling times. But anyway, guys, this video long enough, man. I appreciate everybody that's been looking out, man, supporting the channel. It's 2023, man. I hope everybody's in good spirits and everything, man. If you want to continue to support the channel, support the research, feel like I helped you with this video or my videos doing you any justice, and if helped you at all, man, please help support the channel, man. You make it possible for us to continue to reach out and reach other people and get this information into the hands of the people that need it. And if you have information, guys, I told you, go ahead and get in the Telegram. If you can, put comments and stuff. Leave it. And I say information as far as anybody else experiencing this. I need to know every goddamn person in the freaking country that's got a freaking brain problem right now. That stuff need to be frontline news, okay? And the more people we reach and we show how many people are having this dang thing going on, we can really start waking some people up. But I need y'all help, okay? So anyway, y'all be safe, man. I hope everybody's having a good New Year despite this unfortunate set of circumstances that we're dealing with. And I hope everybody is well either way. Those of you that can be well at this point. So yeah, y'all be safe, man. Catch you on the next video.